Hey everybody.
Boom.
We are going to pull in Andie here and get started in a second. So thank you everybody for joining us. We're excited to have Andie Proskus with us.
Nobody's been joined. It's been two seconds. Hold on a second.
Give it a bit.
Ugh.
Hey, there's
Hey
Misty.
guys.
There's Misty.
Hi, Misty girl.
Give us a second while I pull in Andie here. She's having some internet problems earlier, so hopefully we...
How are you guys? Put an emoji. Let's try something different. Put an emoji that describes your
that's
day.
Andie.
Or emojis.
Oh, okay.
Andie, you're in here good.
So Andie, you want to come out of this.
Yep.
And you want to just go live yourself. And then I send you an invite. Okay? So go out of here. Go live like you're used to doing. And then I recognize that you're live. And then I send you an invite. And you accept it. Okay?
We'll get you on. Yeah, Misty. She's coming our way. It's going to be so fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait.
Well, you got it. Yeah, it's not uncommon with dual lives or...
Oh, I like her red photo that she has.
Yeah, she changed it back to the one that we had.
It. We're so excited too. I'm looking between the phone and the iPad because you guys know I can't read things.
Hi.
Hey!
Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, finally, we get to chat.
Give me a moment.
Just having an emotional moment, my friend.
Yay. I'm so excited.
Oh, you're beautiful. Yeah.
We love you so much.
Yeah.
I love you guys too. I'm glad that I could join and do this. My connection is good right now, but the Wi-Fi at my group home goes in and out all the time.
Oh, you're. It's so good to see your beautiful smile.
Thank you.
On the way that the screen short, the way that the recording happens, it on our end it makes your audio sound a little faint. So however loud you could speak for us, it'll come fine in the recording that we upload, but for our benefit.
Yeah, it's really strange. It's just Rex and I.
Well, and the reason why I do that is TikTok's recordings have been failing recently, and so I want to use that one if it doesn't fail.
Come on, TikTok.
But anyway, we've got a screen record going. It does a really good job, but the one downside is that when we're listening to you, it's really faint. We can still hear you.
Yeah, I've never done a live with another person. Can you see the comments on my end or no? I'm not sure how it works.
Oh, that might be better.
I think turn yours down.
Just
We're gonna
just
actually.
1 second.
I think I can just maybe get you your volume up on my iPad.
Yeah, go ahead and increase that.
Your volume up on my iPad.
Yeah, go ahead and increase that. Okay, go ahead and say something. We'll just do a quick test here.
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Okay, go ahead and say something. We'll just do a quick test here.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
that's
perfectly.
Yeah, it's kind of delayed a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
that's
perfectly.
It's kind of delayed a little bit.
It is. Darn it. It's Rex's stupid phone.
Do you want to go with the before we start? Do you want to go with the delay or do you want to go with the thing? That might drive me crazy. I know we're gonna be listening to ourselves. So turn yours down. That won't.
I don't need to be hearing me twice ever.
Okay, so go ahead and give it a test. We tried it. Go ahead and give it one more test.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's faint, but we can make it work. And the recording, it won't be like that. So So bear with us if we can't hear you, and you might have to repeat something. But
Misty is saying that she's gonna hop over into your live and to make her a moderator.
Okay,
oh yeah, she's jumping on that bandwagon fast.
I see her. I'll make her a
She's gonna take care of business.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and say something again. One more test. Try to speak loud as you.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, I can hear that if you do that. Okay.
Okay.
Or do we want to start over on my iPad? It'd be worth that. I don't want.
You mean to go live on
the
iPad?
Exactly.
But I'd have to log in. Because we're on the other account. We'd have to just, everybody would shut down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And I don't have a screen share, on that.
Oh.
So, okay, we are going to go forward with it. It will still be a good
Welcome, you guys.
recording.
There's so many people joining.
What's that?
There's so many people joining. Can you guys see the comments on my side?
I can't.
Oh.
I'm so happy to hear that, though.
Yep.
Yeah, if you keep that volume up, we're gonna do great. We're gonna dive in. It's gonna be a great recording for those that aren't joining us. We're gonna upload this to our YouTube. If you're not already following us, you guys, we would die if you could follow us, and then also go out to our YouTube channel. There's a link in our bio, our link tree, and so that's where all the videos are. So if you haven't already checked that out, do that. But you guys, I've been working with Andie and I have been in connection for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we wanted to have her recently when we Turn Talk purple again, and we had a bunch of people all that we had interviewed, and even some future guests.
Yeah.
We had them, and things just didn't pan out, right? In terms of you had something that
some hard days.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it gave us more time to fall more in love with you and follow you.
I know.
And,
yeah.
And as the community has been growing, Andie, I just want you to know that people really know you and your story. And I hope that this provides an opportunity, and we're not going to be limited by time here, right? So you've raised the flag when you're...
when your body is done.
But there's only so much that you can do in comments and 3-minute posts, even with how good you do it. So I hope that everybody that sees this, both the live as well as the recording, if this is where you're watching it for the first time, will be able to get a sense of the depth and appreciation that we have to what you go through, and not just because you're special, but Nell says over and over repeatedly, every person that's going through these things that are oftentimes not as public are just as special. And you represent that, right? Yeah. You come forward with that humility, and that you're not coming across as, hey, I'm just so much better or suffering more than you, and that comes across. So what an example of what it is that we're trying to do. And thank you for being patient with us getting you.
I think that you guys scheduled. Found me first. I'm pretty sure. I think you guys found me first. I get so many messages and comments, but I always saw them though.
Yeah, you've got a lot. It's interesting because you have a lot of comments and things, but somehow we got through and connected, my friend. And that just shows to me, as I think people are experiencing on their own, that's more meaningful than someone articulating it, when they experience that a higher power is behind this, right? Whether you want to call that filling of the spirit, or and Nell has very sacred experiences where even on a personal level, she will experience that, with her leading a lot of what all of this that has been happening. And so we hope and pray that spirit will continue to be with us as we get blessed with you and get to hear more about your story. And I'm so glad that Nell...
I'm so happy both of you could be here. It's great.
Oh,
what was that?
Say that again.
I'm so happy both of you can be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very blessed. Rex has really carried, I think over the last week of interviews, I have not been okay. Just had, dental,
Yeah.
some serious dental stuff, like bone grafts put in, and ooh,
I'm
that took
sorry.
me down harder.
That's rough.
So,
Yeah.
so blessed to be here, and I'm so, um, and I'll wait for a little bit later, Andie. But I've spent the last couple of days, and especially today, in prayers. I've thought of you, and um, something very special that I feel like I want to say to you later on. Um, just was brought to my attention, and I don't always do this. Once in a while I'll read from my one of my favorite books, and people put up with me when I do. But there was just something that I felt strongly that and I know that we believe strongly in our Heavenly Father and our Savior, and there's just such a strong message that they want brought to you. And so later on, when we have a moment, a break, where you feel like you're kind of maybe even need a break from talking for a minute, I'll take over, and it'll be my honor
Thank you.
to share that with you. But I don't think we try to express how much we love you. I don't know that it can come across as deeply as we feel it. We've even talked as a family. We like if we weren't didn't live in a 3-level townhome, we would just go scoop you up and adopt you.
You are
and
adopted. I don't care. It doesn't have to be legal. You are part of our family. I want you to know.
And so many people feel that way about you.
I view you, you're like a daughter in so many ways.
Thank
and I know that you're not getting what you're deserving of, and sometimes even the opposite. And I want you to know that has nothing to do with you and your worth.
Thank you.
No, I think quite the opposite. I think you, and I don't say things, as you guys know, I don't fluff things up. When I say it, I mean it. It's when someone is so much a goddess that they are willing to step into a body that is broken and suffering, so that you might learn from her, and you might say thank you for my life and thank you for my health. I know Andie did this knowing full well what she would go through, and that despite hard days and moments where sometimes you wonder, it is incredibly, an honor is an understatement to say. I'll tell you this, Andie. I would go through every day of my suffering again if it just meant meeting you.
Thank you.
Because our paths have been shared in this realm of suffering, our paths crossed. And what bigger miracle?
It is a miracle. Out of all the souls in this world, in fact, I even have it. I got kindred spirits, baby.
Yeah. You guys all know, if you aren't following Andie already, you might want to.
What's your problem?
Because you, and I know, Andie, I'll say this really quick before we start. There's a lot of hurt that gets put out there. Some people don't know how to act. They don't know how to respond. They don't, but they're quite literally looking in the face of their greatest fear, and that is suffering every day. Yeah. So the fact that you take on what you do and that you have decided, I'm going to open my life. I'm not just going to come down here and suffer in such extreme circumstances, but I'm going to open my life, whether that means, you're taking on the good, bad, and ugly, and you just go beyond goddess to me. You are so refined already, and we can't, and to all of you as well, I know we stand with Andie as we say this. For all of you that suffer, we look to you, we honor you, you are our family, and we love you. You're right here.
Thank you.
We wish we could just hold all of you.
Ooh, big hug.
Yeah.
We love you.
I love you guys.
I hope you feel it. I hope you feel it when you're looking at the ceiling and you think you're by yourself. I want you to remember I have a family, and they're thinking of me often. Yeah. Our kids know you. We're gonna see you.
So many of you are family.
We want to start traveling and things. And
I wish I could hop on a plane and come over there now.
I know.
I'm telling you,
I know.
We're starting to get the flying going. Misty's on her way this weekend for Tia. Don't miss the interview this Saturday. But don't hold me to a date, but we'll figure out the details. I will give you a hug, okay? If it's the last thing I do.
Not before me, he won't.
Are you guys interviewing Tia on here or like in person?
No, so she's going to be in her home.
Oh, wow.
We will be live on TikTok this Saturday at 4:00 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's 3:00 Pacific Time. And we will be recording it through some digital cameras and things and putting that together later. But
she'll be here.
She'll be here. And we'll be
with Misty
live on TikTok. So if you want to, if it's an easy way to join it for those that are listening,
right? Yeah.
Just come to Spoonful of Sugar Rec Snell. You'll see us live, and you'll see it. And
Tia's.
Yeah, and Misty's flying out. You guys, if you guys
Tia's or Misty will, I'm sure, be live. So
yeah, if you guys aren't following Misty Marvin, she's our vice president of operations.
Perfectly perfect.
Imperfectly perfect. So follow her, you guys. She's a huge advocate and blessing for.
Yeah, she's a part of Spoonful of Sugar, like officially. So
yeah, she's one of the.
You
directors.
guys, if you go out, share, get your friends, get anybody that you know that is suffering. Always let them know that we're here, because my biggest nightmare is that people feel alone. I can't.
Yeah, and I can't.
That gets me.
It would be a good problem to have if I had people contacting us and they wanted to be on the schedule, and we were because we're doing interviews 4 times a week, and we're booked through July of 2022. Oh, wow. But it doesn't mean that we don't have room for more. People want to share their story, right? And so if you're interested in that, follow us and message me with some details, and we'll try to get you booked if you be a little bit patient.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, and it doesn't matter. We'll adjust our lives. Sometimes Rex more than me, but we'll adjust depending on where you are around the world.
Yeah.
So and I know that some of you, we're very blessed here in America. I know that we have still a lot to work on, especially in the chronic pain community. But compared to what some other people live with, we are still very blessed here. And, we want to eventually, be global. We're getting there, but Andie, I want to say if it wasn't for you and people that I've had to look up to for 4 years when I was isolated and people kind of dropped out of my life. Um, you're absolutely a pioneer, and I know that you're a sister that I knew before,
Oh,
and
100%.
that I am just I tear up thinking about being able to walk through this life with you and the next from here on out.
Hell yeah.
So glad I found you.
I'm so grateful to have met
Enough
you
of our
guys.
blubbering.
Yeah, that's a big blubbering hug for you, introduction. But you're such a mature, wise, virtuous, strong soul. I just cannot say that enough. You're one of the
You
most
guys are sweet. Thank
inspiring
you.
individuals I think I've ever experienced and met. And for us to be this close and to have you be part of it, yeah, that gives hopefully people some confirmation that there is much more before this life, during this life, after this life, and there is some way higher powers than us, and this is much bigger than just
Yeah,
us.
so if you're not joining because this makes you uncomfortable, because we've had some people say that it's hard to watch someone suffer. You're really missing out, and I say this a lot. You're really missing out on some of the most incredible human beings you'll ever come across. There's a reason that they've been given what they've been given because they're strong enough to carry it. And to be Thank you. Actually, he just
Mm-hmm.
turned down the lights, and my eyes went, "Oh my!" Do not miss out on these incredible human beings and moments in this life because it's uncomfortable at first. Come in. We don't care if you're not a part of the chronic pain community. We all suffer in one way or another as
Yeah.
human beings, so you're all welcome.
Yeah.
Andie, I would like you to start wherever you want and tell whoever's on here and whoever is going to look at this down the road all about you, what you go through, just anything you'd like to
You can
talk
go as
about.
early as you want. Some people start talking about some things about their childhood and things like that, within
Yeah,
reason and stuff.
whatever
We
you'd
want you to
like.
feel like that this is an opportunity to just share maybe, a lot even of what you haven't, people still don't even know about you.
Yep.
So with that, we will stop blubbering here and we're gonna listen because speak up the best that you can
I
and
know if I'm like this, it's
we
only
might
because I don't want
I
to
yeah
miss
have
a
a
we
word.
quiet
might
voice.
oh that's perfect.
Yeah,
I
that was
I,
good.
I heard you really well. So
Okay.
Hey, you guys.
First of all, there's like 6,800 people on here. I think that's like the most I've ever
Oh,
had on a live
wow.
chat before.
we'll
So,
tell them we say hello
Oh my
and
gosh, you guys,
thank you for taking care of our Andie.
thank you for supporting our Andie. Thank you for joining us live.
Yeah,
Thank you for
I'm so happy.
following us, going to our YouTube. Check out some of the amazing people that we've recorded. If it's the first time that you're uncovering this, we have room for everyone. And we hope that everybody feels a welcoming as if you've just come into our front room. So I don't care if it's 6,000. That is honestly how we feel.
I'm so happy for you though, Andie, because this is such a good number for you of people to watch whatever you want them to know.
Yes.
So you get
okay.
it, girl. Let us
100%.
know.
Okay, so things like it began when I was little, like when I was born, like I met my milestones like kind of later than like other people, but I I grew up like developing like with no real issues, and when I was about, I would say like preschool age, um, they noticed I also have a learning disability. They noticed that I was kind of behind. They wanted to do some testing. They weren't sure what was going on, and so I went through a bunch of testing. I would say like elementary school when I began like in third grade, the elementary school that I was in, they didn't have a special education classroom at that school at the time.
Right.
And so I was in a classroom like a regular third grade class, and then I was in like a fourth and fifth grade mixed kind of class. And I was behind, and like I'd gone out to the like they had a resource room, and so I would go there for math and for reading. I had comprehension issues. In fifth grade, um, the everybody was doing like the fifth grade math uh, math book or whatever it was called, practice count book, and I was
Yeah.
doing like the first or second grade. So I was always like developmentally like behind than my the rest of my peers, but I I still kept going, and I had help from uh, teachers that, and I would get pulled out from my classroom for extra help as well. So in middle school, when I started sixth grade, that's when I began in special ed. They had two different special ed classrooms. One was a higher level, but it was for people who had like behavioral issues. And then there was like a life skills class. That's the class that I was in with like
And
six other students. And I went out. I was mainly in one classroom for math and for reading, and we did cooking. We learned how to make like quesadillas, macaroni. Like it was, it was. We went
Andy,
through.
you sound like our youngest daughter. I'm sorry.
love it.
Abby's gonna love you.
Oh man, her face. I love
I
seeing you
know. She
smile.
said the quesadilla, and I was like, oh, Abby. Here we
But
go.
You know I love Taco Bell. I'm gonna
I
have to
didn't
bring
have
you some
any
damn Taco Bell.
I didn't have any eating issues at the time. I would make like I learned how to make. I don't know how to cook anything now. I've kind of well, I could make like a quesadilla probably, but like me and this one other girl in my classroom, the amount of like macaroni that we would make wasn't enough, so we would make another pot of it together together and
Oh
eat
my
it.
gosh.
But the only classes that like I went out for were PE, which I was always horrible at PE. I remember like the running, and then there was like these relays or something where we had to jump over these. I don't know what
Yeah.
they're called. Um,
Hated it.
but I was never able to do it. I remember that the PE teacher, we'd play like dodgeball. I didn't have like issues with my mobility very much yet, but I had the teacher would tell everybody to be softer, like when we're playing dodgeball, and to not go so hard.
Okay.
And I would have to sit out for some activities because they were too hard for me. Things were getting a little bit rough in my
Yeah.
and I was in and out of middle school a lot because I was in therapy. I did physical therapy, occupational therapy, swim therapy, uh, vision therapy, but that was not for problems like seeing or anything like that. I had trouble tracking, and it was for different reasons. But I was in and out of school a lot for therapy. Swim therapy was fun. I the therapist, it would just be like one on one in the pool, like doing different exercises and things. And the teacher and I would play like volleyball, and I was much better than her at it. I I would toss the ball
Girl.
like out of the pool, and I would beat her
Look
like
at
in
you
the
go.
in the game. I graduated from swim therapy. I was doing I was doing well, and so um, starting in high school, uh, I remember like I think you were required to take like a semester of PE, but I remember like I didn't want to do it, but I remember that's when my back issues started coming on, and so I got out of having to do PE, and I was very excited about that because I hated PE. Uh, so I
I'm
was
so
more
with you.
I was more
Ugh.
into I was more into singing. Choir was like my main uh,
Yeah.
Really? Yeah,
class.
you sing.
Again, our youngest daughter.
That's part of what you do. You do dances, but you also sing. In fact, your
Yeah,
first
I did.
post I was watching today was "You Are My Sunshine." You know, I mean, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. Me and my sisters, my two sisters are twins. They're a year younger than me.
Yeah.
But we all did dance classes when we were really little. I did ballet, tap, jazz. But I remember being in ballet class with one of my sisters. Did dance like all the way through high school. She was into it more than the rest of us. But I remember in ballet class, I would look at the clock to see like when it was going to be over. I wasn't into. It wasn't my thing. I was not. I was never really into dance, so that's why it's like surprising that I can pick up like the TikTok dances pretty well
You like the
because
rhythm.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh
Somehow
yeah, I can see it, girl.
I guess some
We
of
we
that
we see it.
dancing must have helped in some way.
There's
I
so
don't
much
know.
in common already. It's funny.
But I began choir when we were really little. We lived here in Oregon, and then we moved to St. Louis to be around family. My aunt and my uncle and my cousins, they were in St. Louis. My uncle, though, he passed away. I think it's been like 3 or 4 years. He had a heart attack. My aunt is a neurologist in St. Louis, and she
Wow.
specializes in MS, which is different than muscular dystrophy. But we have a lot of people like in the medical field. My dad did oncology nursing until he was 64, I believe. And then he had surgeries. And then my mom also was a nurse she did orthopedic nursing. She stopped at the age of 52. She wasn't hospital nursing wasn't really for her. She was an older
Right.
nurse, and
Yeah.
they she did night shift. They went from like 8 to 12-hour shifts, and me and my sisters had activities going on. My sister was in soccer. It was too much, and she would end up calling in all the time to work, and
Yeah, it was a lot.
it wasn't for her. And then things with me began with my back, and
Okay.
she was helping with certain things like after my surgery, my original back surgery. Um, but I'll go back to like high school. So I think beginning like sophomore year of high school, was when my back began to progressively like hunch over. It wasn't like scoliosis, it was kyphosis, which I'm not exactly sure. I think scoliosis is like an S shape or something in your spine.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I was like hunched over, and like progressively more and more like that happened, and I met with orthopedic surgeons, and I wore this big like hard back brace to try to help, because they don't just jump into surgery, like they try other things
Yeah.
first.
Sure.
Therapies and stuff.
And so yeah, so
So
I
was your back going, and I'm asking this because all three of our kids have scoliosis
yeah.
and at different, severities, but was your back kind of doing this curving outward instead of the
um
S inward?
yeah, I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it was like I was unable, like my back looked like how people like elderly people have like osteoporosis, and they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of hunched
Yep.
over.
Yep.
That's how my back started to progress and
Okay.
get.
So I can picture it really well.
And it's not just the bones, but it's the muscle. It's
Yeah,
the
the muscles.
combination of that. You know, people might think, oh well, maybe it's just the muscle part that's difficult to hold it up, but it's just your frame has
Yeah.
those issues, and then the muscle to connect to the frame.
Which I think is why they give you that brace that you're talking about.
Yep.
Slowly retraining if possible.
Where they're trying, yeah, yeah, and that was some of the first
Did that
efforts.
help you at all?
um I think it gave a little bit of support, but it's my back continued to progress further,
Okay.
and so it ultimately it didn't really do very much of anything. I don't think, like, I don't remember. um but i I did get referred to a surgeon at Shriners Hospital. I think I was 16 at that time, and I'm not sure what, I can't remember what exactly he was trying to figure out. He didn't know what was going on, but he decided to put me under anesthesia to see if my back would straighten out or something while I was asleep. I'm not exactly sure what he
Okay.
was trying to do. But when I woke up, um, I was back to being hunched over. Like, he didn't really know what the cause was. So I remember getting some kind of, he didn't say this in person, but he sent some kind of a letter or something, saying that he thought that it was in my head, that it was fake, that I was that it basically he didn't know what was going on. But we did not take that, like, as an answer. My
Yeah.
thankfully my aunt, she knew of a pediatric neurologist in St. Louis, and connected us. The hospital is, called Barnes Jewish Hospital. It's kind of like a Mayo Clinic. A lot of people come from all over to the hospital.
What
And
state is that? What state is that in again?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom, I got in to see this neurologist, and me and my mom flew out to St. Louis, and she did a bunch of different tests. She did an EMG, which is like, uh, they put these like probes on, like, your arms and your legs. It tests out, like, how the nerves and the muscles, I guess, respond or something. And but that part's not the worst of that test. Then they put these needles in, and they move them, like, up and down, like in your arms
Ooh.
and your legs, and that part was very painful.
Yeah.
But they did that. I had like a muscle ultrasound, and then the last thing was I had a muscle biopsy where they removed a piece of muscle from my upper arm to be examined, which
Okay.
came back. That's what, all of those tests were abnormal. But the doctors who I saw in Oregon couldn't figure it out. I feel like they're better with medical care on the east side. I don't know. I just haven't had such great care, like, in Oregon. I don't. I'm sure other states are better, but, like, I don't.
You're yeah, you're I'll tell you this real quick, just to kind of I don't know if this is, and we're not trying to, I just feel like, so I've been having to do my own research on CRPS because I don't even quite fit in the CRPS world, because it's called basically your limbs on fire, or literally it's limbs on what's, but for me it starts in my face. So, and the two best doctors I have found are completely on the East Coast. So when you say that, I'm like, eh, there's a lot of truth to that. There's amazing doctors on the East Coast, West Coast too. We're not hating on anybody, but there's some incredible things happening, and doctors there. I agree with you.
One of my home health nurses, who I've known for about, I think, 3 or 4 years now. She's from Israel, and she told me at one
Really? Yeah.
point, because we've been frustrated with my surgeon not doing anything to help me. She told me I should go to Israel. I'm like, are you treating me for the an airline ticket to Israel? I don't have the money to just hop on an airplane and fly out there. I think she said that the medical care is better, or over in Israel or something. I don't know if she knows of any neurosurgeons over there or anything like that.
Right.
She just told me I should go. She has family over in Israel. Lana is very. I've known her a long time. She's Israeli, so she has like a tough, like, kind of accent and stuff. And she's been with the home health agency for, like, since like 2007. and she has like a tough
Wow, that's deep.
personality. Like you don't want to mess with her. Like
She
when it
just
comes
wants to
to
adopt you and take you with
Yeah.
her.
when it
Yeah,
comes to
really.
my when it comes to my nutrition, she's not afraid to speak her opinions about things
Yeah.
and be kind of tough on that, which is
Get you in
helpful. You
trouble. Keep you in line.
Yep. So, um, so after I met with this neurologist and the muscle biopsy came back, that's what diagnosed me. It showed shortened muscle fibers, and that's like what diagnosed me with muscular dystrophy. But I've always been kind of a mystery case. Like trying to diagnose certain things has always been like certain symptoms that I've had have been unusual to doctors. Like it's taken a while. They've never been able to pinpoint like specifics with certain things, but the muscular dystrophy, there's many different types, and mine is congenital, and so there's some that develop like the worst one is Duchenne muscular dystrophy. That one is more in boys, and it's a fatal form of muscular dystrophy. I think that kids are wheelchair bound by the age of like 10, I think. And there's some muscular dystrophies that develop even later in life, like some people in their 40s or 50s develop. So
Mm-hmm.
there's many different types, and some are more progressive than others are. But
Yeah.
it does affect different muscles getting weaker. It is progressive, and it's it is inherited, so both parents have to carry the gene, but I'm the only person in my family that actually has muscular dystrophy. There's no my sisters don't have anything wrong. um, my parents don't have anything wrong. There's nobody else in our family who has had on my mom's side. I don't think there's anybody, or on my dad's side of the family. So I'm the lucky one of the group. And
You're the lucky one.
You're just that special, is all.
yep. And so it's different. Like my symptoms like be so what once that we figured out that the reason my back was bent over was due to muscle weakness from my muscle disease. Then I got connected with an orthopedic surgeon in St. Louis, and this guy he did surgeries. He no longer operates, but he did surgeries for like 30 some years. He's a guy of like with no personality, but he really knew what he was doing though. You could barely get like a chuckle out of him. Like he when I had
Just
when I
still
had
kind of
my
guy.
yeah when I had my when I had my surgery in St. Louis, my mom was with me, and the surgeon would come in at like 6 in the morning, and he would have his colleagues come in and get me up out of bed in the back brace that I had to wear, and then he would come in and be in there. You had to be like up and moving. He wanted to see you walking, and if you had any questions for him, like if my mom had anything to ask, she would make sure she got up early, took a shower, was sitting down, and ready to ask those questions because he was like in and out within like 3 minutes.
He was about business.
He
Yeah,
was
really.
like the
Boop, boop,
first
boop, boop,
surgeon
boop.
on the unit to come around, I think, at like 6 in the morning. So um but the surgery, I had a choice if I wanted to have it done at the children's hospital or the adult hospital because
Yeah.
I was 17, so I chose the children's because I always like it better. It was like it's
Yeah,
colorful and
if you know the Fry Life on YouTube, Mary says
uh-huh.
that a lot. She has cystic fibrosis. The children's hospital is better. If you have a choice, look, you get to
Yep.
play games. They treat you. You might get a clown in your room one day. I don't know, but I could
Yeah.
totally see why. Because she kind of showed me that, like the
Yeah.
difference between if you have a choice. I could see why you took that.
Yeah, the I remember that there was something that we had to get approved by insurance. It was something that the surgeon used that helps the bones fuse better. And I can't remember what it was called, but we had to get a certain amount of these cases of it approved by insurance or something like that for him to use. I think it was called. I don't know what exactly the name was, but like it does something to help the bones fuse better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the surgery was like an 8 or 9 hour surgery, and then I was in the ICU for 2 nights, though actually it might have been a little bit more. I had um, what they thought was a pulmonary embolism because my breathing
Mm.
would like the machines would go off. I remember they would keep running into my room. My breathing, it wasn't a pulmonary embolism. I just had to take deeper breaths, but there
Okay.
they took me for like a scan. Like I was in the ICU for about like maybe 3 or 4 days, and then I went to like the regular neurosurgery, or not neurosurgery, wherever they. I'm not sure. He's an orthopedic surgeon, not a neurosurgeon. So he
Is
does surgeries, not the cervical part of the spine, but like your lower back area. So mine was done from the below my neck down to my tailbone.
so
So
Oh my word.
was this surgery where you got the hardware?
yeah, that's where the hardware was placed. I had rods put in and screws, and it was to straighten out my spine so I could stand up straighter.
Yeah.
And it was successful. I hung out like for a week after I got out of the hospital at my aunt's house. She had a bedroom on the lower level of her house, which was accessible. So I hung out there. We had to stay for an extra week because I had a follow up appointments that we had to go to the hospital for. Basically, this was, I think my surgery was around Thanksgiving time because my cravings that I had after surgery were pumpkin pie and like the colored M&Ms, like the red and green M&Ms. I lived off of that. Now, like, I don't ever have pumpkin pie, but that was like my only craving after surgery. Like, and I would be in bed. I had two different back braces. One that had to be put on in bed. I didn't have to sleep in it, thankfully, but it was like two separate pieces, like this big shell, and it had this chin piece connected to keep everything in alignment. And so it had to be put on in bed, and then I wore that during the day, and then in the shower I had a separate hard brace that I had to wear.
Oh.
But my regular back brace, that I got to pick the design out. I was very sad when I didn't have
Oh.
to wear it any longer. I wanted to keep it as a souvenir, but I think it had
Yeah.
like ladybugs on it or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
letting go of it, right? Well, I mean, it's interesting. We kind of laugh a little bit about that, but you almost kind of feel like that there's a little helpful, friendly spirit associated with it, right? Because it helped you so much.
yeah,
Well,
my
are these
my
back braces? Because I know some they really, really have to tailor to your body.
Yeah, it
Um.
had to. It was they molded the brace on for me like when I was in the ICU. I have a picture from like a long time back. Yeah, so they had to mold to make it fit properly and
Yeah,
everything.
a mold.
Um, I was real out of it in the ICU. The few things that I remember is that there's this volunteer who came around with blankets and stuffed animals, and I got this little panda bear stuffed animal, and I still have it. I'm not exactly sure where I put it, but I kept I kept
Oh.
on to that for a long time. I have a couple videos like from the ICU, and it was my first time ever having like a pain pump. I think I was on a pain pump of some sort, probably like Dilaudid or something.
A
And
lot
Yeah.
of
I
Yeah.
yeah.
and in the
I
video,
would
I
think.
I had my mom record the video, and I said in the video, I push this button when I need more pain, and I meant to say pain medicine, not pain. And I was very out of it in the videos. They're very interesting. I have many YouTube channels, like 6 YouTube channels. I used to be really into posting videos, but I don't have those videos as public though, because I don't want the world to see me out there. But I used to be, when before like Facebook was a thing, and then there was MySpace before Facebook. I was like big on YouTube, posting singing videos and all sorts of other videos. But
Are
anyway,
you telling
with my
me?
She's a
Well,
YouTuber.
hold on. Are you telling me right now that I can find you on YouTube?
yep.
Yeah.
YouTube's where my heart is
Yeah.
first. So I'm finding you on YouTube right now.
My videos are definitely quite interesting. There's some good singing ones, and then there's one where I tried yodeling. I don't know what I was doing, but it was terrible. But it was it was very entertaining though. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was kind of my outlet, I guess, to that helped me get through. Music and singing has always been like therapeutic
yeah,
for
for
Yeah.
me, and
sure.
has helped me get through a lot of things. I began doing choir when I was in second grade in St. Louis. I was the only second grader, I think, in the choir group or something. They started at from like third grade up, and I was the only second grader in the choir group. And then when we moved to Oregon, we moved when I was in third grade back. So we lived in Oregon, and then we moved to St. Louis, and then we moved back to Oregon. My dad
Mm-hmm.
was unhappy with his work job, his nursing over there, and he wanted to come back to Oregon. So now we don't have, now the family is kind of spread out all over the place. It's only my aunt in St. Louis now, but before my cousins were there. But now all of them are grown, and they have, most of them have children, and so they're all over the
Yeah.
place now. But
Yep,
i
scattered
I don't know
around.
how much I miss St. Louis. I'm like, it was okay, but I don't think I would choose to like go back.
Yeah.
I'm used to Oregon now. Like built I've built like a community of people I know, and I like it here. But anyway, after my back surgery, um, my mom and I had to fly back and forth for follow up appointments, like every, I think there was like every month, and then every couple months. So we'd go back and forth, and it was a lot of like long traveling, only to like meet with the surgeon for like 5 minutes or something. We would fly all
Yeah.
the way out there. They would do x-rays at the hospital, and then we would go and meet with him, and he would put all the x-rays up. Like there's a board where you could see all the screws and everything in there, which was very interesting. I My mom liked to joke and say that I got screwed by the surgeon because of all the screws in my spine. But anyway, I he would tell me everything looked good and there was no problems. I was healing good, and then we'd fly back home to Oregon. So we did that for a while, and then I remember when I didn't have to wear my back brace anymore, it felt really strange because I was in it for so long, and I wanted to
Yeah.
continue wearing it, but the surgeon said that I didn't need to anymore. Like everything looked okay. My grandparents, they used to live in Florida, and then when they got older, they moved to St. Louis to be by my aunt. They needed help, and my grandpa developed Alzheimer's in his early 80s, and my grandma became like a caregiver to him. She had macular degeneration, so she had trouble seeing, and
Mm.
obviously she had dementia as she got older. She didn't have Alzheimer's though, but she became like his caregiver for the longest
Wow.
time. Both of them, though, they lived into their 90s, 93, 90, 92, and 93, I
Wow.
believe. So they held on to my back brace for a while after I didn't need it anymore, just in case anything happened and I needed it again. And then when I wanted to take it back as like a souvenir eventually, like years later, they had gotten rid of it. They 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 threw it out. They didn't hold on to the onto the brace. So I didn't get to keep it as a souvenir. But I I healed really well. I've always had like back pain, but nothing ever like wrong like with the hardware in my back or anything like that. Everything healed the way it should. I don't remember him saying the only thing I remember him saying that could go wrong because he didn't operate on my cervical spine. So he did say that my neck could eventually I could have trouble with my cervical spine, trouble holding up my head, which now to think about that happened like many years later though, like 2016. So it didn't happen right away, but I remember that's like the only thing he said that possibly could be wrong or like go wrong later on in life. But everything else it's like very rare for anything to happen like 10 years down the line. Like if
Mm-hmm.
something, if like people have surgeries that fail, but like it could be like a short time after or like a couple years, but 10 years
Right.
is very rare for something to go wrong. And
Yeah.
so starting in 2018 is when I noticed it kind of looked like a black and blue mark. I don't know. I noticed like a bump on my like lower spine area. That's where my first abscess began. And I didn't know
Oh,
what was going on. I was in a lot of pain. I was in bed. I remember crying. I couldn't move from bed. It was just like the worst pain ever. And I remember I was begging. I None of us like everybody hates going to the ER because you end up waiting like forever, like sitting there until they unless you come in by ambulance or like with chest pain or something, you end up waiting.
right. Right.
and and so I was like begging to go. I was like, this is not like normal, something is going on. And my mom what kept saying to me, it's probably nothing, I don't want to go. And eventually like 7 hours later, she decided to take me. But she decided she had to go out to lunch first. That was more important, and so she did that before she would take me. It took like 7 or 8 hours of convincing to actually go to the ER. So I went. There was nobody at my group home available to take me. They can have someone take you, but they the staffing they have to have like another staff available at the house to watch everybody else because we can't be home alone.
Mm-hmm.
So the staffing is not they didn't have anyone who could take me. So my mom ended up taking me, and it was a good thing that we went because they did blood work which showed that my white blood cell count was way high, which is an indication of infection. And they did a
Yeah.
CAT scan which showed the abscess, probably an MRI too. And I was admitted for my first hospitalization was like 6 weeks, and I was on IV antibiotics. And the surgeon went in to like drain the abscess, and he closed it up with sutures, and then that ended up reopening again on its own. And there was like drainage like everywhere in the hospital bed. And so he had to leave it open and put in a wound vac, which is, I don't know if you guys know what a wound vac is. It's kind of like a vacuum. It's a special dressing, and it's a machine, like this very noisy machine. It like sucks out the like drainage. It's supposed to help the wound to close and get
Oh,
smaller.
okay.
Is it
So
like a? Is it like a? Almost like a bag or a cone that's open this or over this open
no,
wound.
it's a machine that like, and it has like a tubing that's attached. It's a special kind of like foam dressing that they do on your back. And it I don't know, I don't probably don't explain it well. I think I might have like some photos, but it's supposed to like it helps the wound to close, and the drainage to the bad drainage to like come out or whatever in the machine. I don't know, all I know is it's very it's very annoying. Like you're plugged in all the time. Like so you have to carry the machine around. It's not they call it portable, but it's still like 7 or 8 pounds or whatever. And so
Oh
no
wow.
matter where you go, like
You were
into
like, that was
the
not portable.
the dressing part of it I think is was waterproof, but you can't go into the shower with it. I had to leave it on the floor outside of the shower, and no matter and then it would make this like horrible beeping sound all the time. And no matter there are some nurses who did the dressing better than others, but the machine is like so obnoxious. Like it and I'd have so many problems with it. I'd go through like 3 machines in like a week. Either the charging wasn't working, or the
Yeah.
sound was. I don't know. I don't know if it ever really did anything to help my
Andie, you were
wounds.
burning out all their machines? The machines like, I can't do it.
Well,
I don't
and
know.
you're in
I
that what did you go through a period of time as things were progressing? Because you said that things started happening in like your sophomore in high school. So when that happened,
I was gonna say, kind of what age is that
did you
you're
go
kind of.
through a period of time where you got care at home and then something happened where it was necessary to be in the group home? Because that's where you're getting your care right
um
now and where you've been living for a long time.
yeah, I because of my like you can't just have like a physical disability to live in a group home. You have to have more. Like I have like a learning disability, so I need help with well besides like with physical things like getting in and out of bed and help in the shower and transferring and things like that. I need help like paying my rent and like setting up like appointments and
Yeah.
like it's easy to like tell that my like communication is good and stuff, but there still is some. I'm like behind though. I'm not quite like at a 29-year-old level all the way. Like there's things that I have trouble comprehending and understanding that I need help with and stuff. So I can't. I don't know if I don't think I would like to live on my own. And I don't. I feel like that would be kind of lonely. I think I kind of like having other people. There's pros and cons like living in a group home though.
Yeah.
There's nobody really, I don't think, especially in my house, that is quite at my level. Like everybody has different disabilities and are at different levels.
Right.
I'm probably the highest functioning out of the group, but I get along with everybody. I don't have any like
Mm.
behavioral issues really. Like there's some who do. There's a girl in my group home who has some behavior stuff, and then there's one guy who is nonverbal. He has autism, so he
Okay.
everybody everybody has different things going on with them. But the group home, there's different group homes. There's some that I feel like make it kind of like they go and do activities and things like that. My house, they feel like that's not their job to entertain us. Like they're the caregivers and like helping. They take people to appointments, they cook, they do medications, they clean, all of that, but they don't really take us out like for activities like to the mall
Mm-hmm.
or to like
Oh,
the
they need
zoo
me
or
there.
anything like that. I
They
feel
need
like
me
they
there.
She'd be
I feel
getting
like
them
they could.
doing art stuff.
Yeah,
I'd be
I feel
like,
like they
game
could.
day,
I,
It's gift day.
party.
Everybody's
We're gonna
gonna
go
help wrap
sing.
presents, and we're gonna send presents to everybody.
Sleepovers.
yeah,
Pillow fight,
Pillow fight.
I
tickle
feel
fight.
like they could. I feel like they could make it a little bit more enjoyable. Like people in the group in my group there's some it's Filipino run. So Julieta, she owns 14 group homes in the company. They're not medical staff, so
Yeah.
Okay.
they're a level 1 care facility. um so they have some staff who speak better English than others do. And that I don't think they train really well in like autism or like specific disabilities. They have a lot of
Yeah.
training they have to do from the state and all of that, but I don't. I don't know, some of the staff are there's the boy who's in my house who has autism. He's really good with one of the a few of the staff, but there's one that for somebody who's like nonverbal, he can scream like really loud when he gets upset about something, but he
Yeah.
can't communicate and tell you what is wrong. So it's hard to know if it's, and he just does it with this one staff person who works on the weekend at my house. So it's hard to know what it is. I think it's like the way you talk to him too. If you raise your voice, that's going to get him upset. He can say a couple words, but he's really like one on one. You always have to watch him. He'll go open and door close, like close and open doors. He'll go in and out of the house. Like you have to have your eyes on him like all the time. So it's not an easy job, and different staff handle the situations better than others do. But
Yeah.
I don't. There used to be a girl in my house who I became really good friends with. But me, her, and Christina, there was always like drama and fighting or from now and then with like all three of us. And she decided to move to a different group home. Some of these people have moved around like to 4 or 5 different group
Yeah, I
homes.
Yeah.
bet.
Um, but yeah, so uh, they moved in. They moved in Brody because the I wanted them to move in somebody who like another girl who like maybe I could speak to and like become friends with. But the owner decided not to do that because she thought there'd be drama or whatever again, and so she moved in Brody. So we don't have that issue now with three girls. I don't know. It's hard living with other people sometimes.
Yeah.
Like my my sisters, they both live in studio apartments on their own, but one of them
Really?
yeah, they're it for like a studio though, it's like 1,000 something. It's
Yeah,
expensive,
it's
very
crazy right
expensive.
now.
But Rachel, she used to live in different houses with different people, but she could never get along with them, and she wanted to live on her own. So now finally she lives in her own studio. So both of them do, and she switches around to different jobs. She hasn't had very I'm not sure what she graduated with exactly, something with like nutrition, and I'm not really sure, but she's had trouble keeping jobs and figuring out what she wants to do. My other sister, who barely ever communicates with any of us, she's an MA. She wants to be a PA, so she's doing schooling. She
Okay.
wants to go to PA school on the East Coast somewhere. She likes that side. She likes New York. She likes but she has more schooling to do before she's able to get into PA school. Rachel
Wow.
communicates with me now and then. She checks in, but Sarah, not very much. She goes by Aiden now. She doesn't like Sarah. So uh, but she doesn't really check in with me or ask me like how I'm doing or anything. She's had her own eating disorder. Hers began before mine did, and my mom thought that I was just copying her, and that's not how eating disorders
Oh,
work.
jeez.
Yeah.
It's very common to have two people in the family who have eating disorders. But for me, I feel like mine came from like the like verb when everything like with my health was out of control and everything like that. I felt like that was my only thing I could control, and my environment and everything like that plays a role. Like a lot of verbal abuse and a lot of things like that play
Mm-hmm.
a role. But if I tried to
Yeah, it
tell
Yeah.
my
sounds like it stemmed from a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
if I try to tell my mom anything like about that I got it from, she'll be like, I didn't cause your eating disorder. You got it from like social media, and that's not how. It's not at all how it works.
I think you're a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, hey, I have a superficial problem, right? I mean, there's
It's not the trend you want to follow.
that's not
You
yeah.
know.
It's not. I'm. It's not a problem where I'm just vain, right? I mean, and that's got to
No.
hurt. Just not having there be,
Yep.
I'm
some accountability and response. Taking responsibility for
and
our.
even from some I'll speak for myself. You know, there's pain that gets so bad that you are nauseous, you throw up, the food is the last thing on your mind. So I'm sure a good portion of what you've gone through has
Yeah.
absolutely added to that extra layer that you're now dealing
Yeah, a
with.
complexity for sure that
Yeah.
shouldn't be dismissed. And
Yep.
No.
did this group home take you before things started happening, because it was a success, and then you didn't know what was starting to happen. Did that happen and then you went to the group home?
Um, this with my back infection and everything.
Yeah, when it
So,
was when you
no,
started noticing
The infection.
the
no,
infections
that
and
started. Um, I think I've been here now for 4 years. So that started after I had moved in already. Is when
oh,
my
okay.
back infection began. My original back surgery that was 2009. So that was
Okay.
a long time
So
ago.
this
But
is
yeah,
starting to happen when you're in the group home and you've
yeah,
got a team of people that are kind of helping you. You talked about just the one spot. Did it just
yeah. So
did it just happen sequentially up your back?
yeah, it continued spreading along my incision. So then I got a second abscess and I was back in the hospital for another 4 weeks on IV antibiotics, and then I would get out again, and then another one would develop. It just kept spreading along my spine. I would go through like 4 or 6 week courses of IV antibiotics, and then I would switch to an oral antibiotic. There was one point where the group home, they have some kind of a rule. If you're gone more than like 30 days or something like that, they don't have to keep your spot in the group home. It's some, I don't know. They would threaten that I might not be able to come back to the house. So I had that added stress on top of already having no control over like the situation. I had to be in the hospital. Like that wasn't
Right.
something that I could control. So luckily they didn't kick me out. Like they held my place, or I'm still like paying my rent and everything. They're still getting their money and all of that. So I don't know what it is. It's some kind of a state rule, or I don't know. They never actually kicked me
Wow.
out, but they would put that on me though. But I there was one point I had to go to a nursing home because I had a PIC line, and my group home doesn't allow any kind of IVs or anything like that. They're, even if they don't have to do anything with it, it's they're still not allowed to have that at all. So I went for like the last 2 weeks, I think, of the course of the antibiotics, the IV antibiotics. I was at a nursing home, the only one that would like take my insurance, and this was way before COVID, when it started. And I was like the youngest one in the nursing home, of course. And there's like one nurse to every like 15 people at night, and I would get my night meds at like midnight. And the nurse didn't know how to change my back dressing, and they do showers like only twice a week or something like that. It was just kind of like annoying. Like it was a short time after I got out also of the nursing home that I got a new abscess. They didn't know how to change the PIC line dressing either, and it was just a mess. So I don't know if that developed while I was at the nursing home. I can't really say for sure, like that's what happened. But yeah, it was a very short time after that I got my third abscess, and I was back in the hospital. I would my neurosurgeon would drain some of the abscesses, but there would also be other surgeons on the neurosurgery team that would also drain them at other times. So every time I would get a new one, the nurse would usually home health would sometimes I would get like a my heart rate would go up high, or I would get a fever, but not every single time that I would get a new abscess. Only occasionally, like that would happen. And so they would send me to the ER, and usually I would get admitted and somebody would drain the abscess. Um, there was a time when I came in with one by my shoulder blade area, and I thought that that was the only one that neurosurgery was going to drain. And then all of a sudden, a thoracic surgeon comes into the room, and he told me that I have one also in my chest. So I had to have that one drained first. He went through the side, my right side, I think, to get to that abscess to drain it. And then I had neurosurgery to drain the one by my shoulder blade. So I had all these drains in a JP drain. I had a chest tube in. I had all these different drains hanging out of me, which were very
Yeah,
painful when they pulled it out.
I
Yeah.
saw some videos of that. Um, there's this one of the things that I want to understand a little bit better is these experts that are trying to get this drainage happening, the vac and everything. Obviously, to get your the bacteria and all, or the infections under control.
Yep.
But the idea behind all of that, I mean, that's not just the treatment's goal alone, right? The idea is to get that kind of under control so that they can heal. And it just seems to me that for years you've been in this pattern where
I'm here listening. Sorry.
they're at least, you know, continuing to do this draining of the abscess, getting the IV in there so that you're getting um, the antibiotics and the you know, the IV treatment, and so they're basically keeping you alive.
It's keeping...
but there's some discharging that's happening because you're back at the group home, and there's not this answers that are being given as to why you're not healing, because why isn't the body
steady
healing?
Care from one or two.
Yeah, ownership.
It sounds like you're just kind of got passed around.
Yeah, it's like
so so there's a lot to unpack there. The first thing that I want, what is your knowledge about why after the draining and the kind, you know, these things that are happening, why isn't there your back healing an open wound? Is there a skin condition or a muscular condition that's you know, because if it's not the issue so much of the abscess, why aren't these holes closing? You know, I don't understand that.
The infection is down to like the bone. It's down to like all of the hardware in my back. So it's everything with the hardware is infected. I had the original infection that I guess developed was like a skin kind of bacteria. It was called Propion bacterium. So it was some kind of skin infection that got... Nobody knows for sure what specific, like why it exactly happened, but it got... once it got into the hardware, it's like attached to it, like it damages like all of the hardware. It's down to the bone, like, and everything like that.
Okay.
So the hardware is completely infected, and the reason that the holes won't... like a big part of it is your nutrition. If you don't have good protein and good, like a nutritional whatever, like it's... they won't close up. That I there were points where I was doing much better with my nutrition, and I was eating actual, like, some meals. Like I would have grilled cheese, I would have quesadillas, I would do... there's sometimes where I was better in the hospital, like even with my eating. And the wounds, there sometimes there'd be little improvements, like that they would begin to start to close, but then it wouldn't... it would then more infection like would develop, and another abscess would pop up. Like, so they don't... they haven't really closed up on... there's only one abscess on my... I mean, one wound on my back that closed, like officially closed, and has never come back again with a new abscess, and that is the one on my lower back, which was my original, uh, my very first abscess. And that one used to be the one that would cause a lot of the issues with more drainage and everything. And that one actually closed up after my surgeon removed my lumbar hardware. But the rest of the wounds on my back have continued to stay the same. Nothing has improved in any way. They tunnel, so there's a lot of the wounds tunnel deep. Like it will go... I have these really small little ones. You'll be able to, like, there's some that like look very tiny, like if you... when in like a photo or whatever, but they go very deep. They can be like down like 3 inches deep or 4 it's like, and they travel. I'm not like a very good like explaining it like the wound clinic doctors and the surgeons like explain it, but what I do know is that like my neurosurgeon, he, because I was doing better with my nutrition, he said that he would have to take out the hardware in stages. He couldn't do it all at once. That would be a lot on my body. So he started, and it wasn't supposed to be a big surgery. He was just removing the lumbar hardware. So he removed like some of the screws, like a pelvic plate of some sort, and then he closed up like down half of my back. I had a nice closed incision, and he closed it up, and I was in the hospital like a week, and then I got out, and I was doing okay until, I keep saying the day after my post-op appointment, but as I remember it better, right before my appointment was in the afternoon, and I remember I bent down or something to pick something up, and I felt like this muscle spasm of some sort, and I went to the appointment, and I remember I wasn't meeting with the surgeon. I met with one of the PAs because she was removing the sutures from my back and looking over everything. And there was one spot on my back that was kind of swollen on my mid back. It was like a pocket of fluid, which can be like a seroma. Basically, that's just like a pocket of fluid. It can begin that way and then like turn into an abscess, I believe. But um, she was concerned about that, and she said she was going to have to talk to the surgeon to see what he wanted to do about it, and maybe I would have to go back to surgery. Anyway, then I left that appointment. I came home, and it was the evening time. This was when Shannon, she did the purple for Andie big event on TikTok, and
Mm-hmm.
it was that night where I was in excruciating pain. These weren't like muscle spasms that come and go. It was like the strangest reaction ever. I woke up the next morning unable, like totally unable to move. If I lifted my hand, it would set off a spasm. I couldn't sit up. I couldn't go to the bathroom. Even with help, I couldn't bend down to sit on like a toilet or anything, a chair. It would set off like this horrible spasm. And I couldn't go to the bathroom for like 8 hours. I couldn't turn. It was like paralyzing kind of pain, and we had to, I couldn't go into a car to like go to the ER, so they had to call an ambulance, and they came to get me, and they transferred me from my bed. I was in my pajamas. There was no way I could change into clothes or anything like that. I couldn't move at all. It was horrible. And so they took me by Did I get disconnected?
No.
You're good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got a phone call, and I got a phone call,
You're
so it
fine.
Oh.
disconnected me or something. Okay, so yeah, they took me by ambulance back to the hospital, and um I remember I went straight back, and the doctors came. They turned me to like look at my back to see what was going on, and it showed some like inflammation. It showed like this seroma, that pocket of fluid or whatever. And then the neurosurgery team came to see me, and my surgeon decided to reopen the incision and clean things out and then put in a wound vac, and hopefully that would release some of that pressure, and maybe that would help. But nobody really knew what was causing this bizarre thing to happen. My back had been under a lot of trauma, though. That was like 2 surgeries, like in procedures, surgery in like a month. So the nerves, every something could have been. He claims nothing went wrong during the surgery, that nothing got nicked or anything like that. So I don't know exactly what caused that reaction, but he he cleaned everything out, and then but it took me a very long time just to be able to go from laying down to sitting up in bed with like the occupational therapist or the physical therapist. They would come in my room and slowly, like eventually, I I got to the point where I was able to go from laying to sitting. But it was like a very slow process, and it was very painful to do. But over time, it got a little easier. But I remember that the neurosurgery team, one day the social worker came in and said to me, "Do you know that they plan on sending you home tomorrow?" And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" I couldn't even get from, this was before I could even get up from the bed to the bedside commode. And they said that I was medically stable enough that I could go home. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't even move unless they're gonna pick me up in the hospital bed with a crane or something and put me in a plane and fly me. There's no way I was able to go home. And I couldn't go back to my group home because I needed a higher level of care than what they were able to provide. It was basically like I had to relearn how to, like, sit up, walk with a walker, like do basic, like, uh, things. Like, it was so crazy. And then, so it was during one of my sessions with the occupational therapist where, a PA from the surgery team came in, and they saw that, they were watching as I was having trouble getting from the bed to, like, the sink or whatever we were working on, and decided that I was not ready to go home. So they
Yeah.
canceled the discharge. But
Oh, good.
we had to appeal before that happened. We had to appeal the discharge, and that was like the first time we had ever had to do that. They thought I was ready to
That's
leave,
so
and they
terrible.
weren't
Don't
looking
send me
at the bigger
home. It's
That's so
picture.
terrible.
And so we appealed the discharge. And when you appeal, we didn't win the case, but that buys you like an extra certain amount of time to stay in the hospital or whatever. So, um, it, but if they deny it, then you have, like, I think a certain amount of time that you have before you have to leave or something like that. But then they canceled, and they determined that I needed to go somewhere before going to my group home. So this was during, like, the when COVID began, and everything was like, the lobby of the hospital was like all shut down. It was like a ghost town. It's like nobody in the lobby. And, like, they decided that I needed to go to a nursing home, and I didn't want to go. I like because I didn't have a good experience that one. And also, they would have, you weren't allowed any kind of visitors or anything. I would be in, like, isolation in, like, a
yeah.
room by myself in the nursing home for like 10 days or something. I don't know. I didn't want to go, but I brought up inpatient rehab because I had gone to there after there's only two inpatient rehab programs, and it wasn't at the hospital that I was at. It was like across town. My surgeon works at both hospitals. He does surgery out of two different hospitals. So the hospital that the inpatient rehab was at, it was about like 20 minutes away. But they first thought that I wouldn't qualify for inpatient rehab because you had to be able to tolerate 3 hours of therapy a day. And I was barely handling like 10 minutes, let alone
Mm,
3 hours. So the social worker gave us a list of all these different nursing homes. We had to for we had to choose like 3 or 4 different options, and then she would call to see who would take me. But it turned out none of them would take me. Not either was my insurance, the one that I was at before wouldn't take me back, and the only reason they gave for not taking me back was due to family dynamics. They didn't give a reason, like what that meant or anything like that. I don't know if it was something my mom said to them when I was there that pissed them off, or like I don't know. That's all they said, is they wouldn't take me back because of because of family dynamics or anything. So when none of
That's so
these one
strange.
of these nursing homes would take me, then I they agreed that I could go to inpatient rehab, which you are allowed to have one visitor or whatever. And it was like three or so hours of therapy a day, like boot camp. Like, it was exhausting, but
yeah.
they got me moving. um they got me up walking with like a walker. It was hard. It was very like hard work. And when you transfer to inpatient rehab, you have to be off of IV pain medicine for 24 hours before you go. They don't allow that. You have to be, and there's the oral pain medicine. I'm like on the strongest stuff that you can be on, but my body has built up a tolerance, so it doesn't really touch it at all, the pain. And even the IV Dilaudid barely touches the pain too. But I had, my port was still accessed, and I was having dressing changes 3 times a week in the hospital on my back, and they allowed me to have 1 dose before the dressing change. But that was it though. The rest of the time, it had to be oral pain medicine
Yeah,
and like
oral.
muscle relaxer. Yeah, they're very strict when it comes to narcotics and everything like that. I've had some nurses in the hospital, like if it's ordered every 3 or 4 hours and I ask for it, they're fine with going to get it for me. But there's other nurses where it's like they're so against the IV medication, and they'll give attitudes about it. One nurse would, I was crying. I said I played their game. I tried the oral one first, and then that didn't work, so I asked for the IV one, and she like stormed out of the room like angry, like she didn't want to go and get it for me. Like I've never been accused of like anything with like seeking drugs or anything like that, but like
Yeah.
I've had some nurses who are better than other nurses when it comes to things like that, and bedside manner too.
Yeah, really.
But
Yeah, those are things we're fighting hard against. I A lot of us in the chronic pain community are absolutely under medicated, and we are made to feel like we're irresponsible, we're babies, we're asking too much, we don't belong
Yeah.
in ER, that's for sure, because we don't, our lives aren't being
You're
threatened at
not
that
dying right
moment.
then. Yeah.
Um,
my
we're
my
fighting
doctor
hard
won't
against this.
my primary care doctor, well, I had to recently sign some kind of a pain agreement, something, I don't know, something new that she had me sign. But I've been on Dilaudid, and I have a fentanyl patch, but she won't go up or anything in the dosages because she said she can't keep raising it higher, because if I am in the hospital, pain control, like it will be harder to get something for that will work for pain, which I
Yeah.
understand. If with medication, I can't take pills. I've never been able to swallow pills, so everything has to be liquid or crushed. And when
Yeah.
there's one pain medicine that's longer lasting or something that they were going to try for me a while back, but it didn't come. It was not allowed to be crushed, and it didn't come in liquid form. So,
Okay.
but the I don't know if the fentanyl patch, like it might take the edge off of the pain sometimes, but still my body has built up a tolerance. So I live with like level like 8 pain, 9, mostly it's like up at the like 8, 9, 10 when I'm moving around. When I'm laying down, it's still
Yeah.
high though. It's like a getting
Yeah.
comfortable is very difficult because my bed is not adjustable, and I've always been offered like that I could get a hospital bed, but I don't feel like the mattresses are very comfortable with those either. Like I always wish my bed could, like I could adjust the bed to change positions, but it's hard for me. I'm always on my back, but I do go to my side. I sleep on my side. Like, so I do change positions, but I need help to change positions. As my muscle disease has progressed, I can't do it on my own. So the group home, and they're not medical people, so I mean they do their best, but they don't really know. It's not like a nurse positioning you or something, but
Right.
Yeah.
I mean they tried their best. And because I have my new chair now, I can go into many different positions, which is very helpful. I can stand in it. It gets pressure
Yeah, during the
completely
day
off
and
my
stuff, you don't
back.
have to be just in your bed. You can kind of,
That's
I can
pressure off
yeah,
tolerate I
your
can
poor
tolerate
back.
being up more. In my old power chair, I even after sitting for like an hour in it, or whatever, I would have to
Yeah.
lay down again. Just because like I have a new chair. There's all different kinds of backrests and everything, but my pain is not gonna just be gone because I have this
No.
new this new chair. I
Yeah.
still have to lay down a lot
No.
like
It
during
just
the
helps you
day.
cope. You talk about
Yeah.
singing and dancing and just the ability to cope,
Yeah.
and the chair helps cope. You know that neurosurgeon that you talked about that was willing to kind of because it's like the root problem is the hardware, and the symptoms, they're like
Yeah.
managing the symptoms, right? So to solve the real problem, we know, and they know that they would need to have that taken out and then put, I guess, better in or whatever. And it sounded like he was willing to do that kind of incrementally, so it wasn't hard on you. Why isn't he pursuing that? Is the only reason why you're not doing that is because these other things that you're struggling with in terms of the eating disorder and your nutrition and your strength, to where the risk is so high that they're basically saying to you, look, if we even tried to do that much, you'd die.
It'd be scary.
That's
Is
yeah,
that is that
that's basically what they're saying. Like I've been on numerous like oral antibiotics, but that's not the cure. That's just like a
mm-hmm.
band-aid. Like that's
is
yeah,
that is that
that's basically what they're saying. Like I've been on numerous like oral antibiotics, but that's not the cure. That's just like a
mm-hmm.
band-aid like, to the
It
problem.
is.
I've become resistant to many, and that I'll have to go on a different
Yeah.
one. And so that's not that's and I still get new abscesses no matter if I'm on an antibiotic. Like when I've been on IV antibiotics, I haven't gotten new ones that would develop, but you can't stay on IV antibiotics. You have to switch to an oral
Yep, you
one.
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
But they he said that the next surgeries, the lumbar hardware doesn't need to be replaced, he said, because the bones are fused from my original surgery, but he didn't say for sure if the thoracic hardware would have to be replaced or not. I'm not really sure, but he said that the next surgeries would be more invasive because he would have to work with a plastic surgeon to do some kind of a flap closure or something of my wounds. And I had met with a plastic surgeon that he knew a while back, like over a year ago or so. And he told me that I was not a candidate because there's not enough weight on me. Like I don't really know that they would have to work together for that. And my cervical spine, before this infection even began, my neck issues began before that. In 2016 is when my my neck, I was unable to hold my head up. It was due to weakness from my neck muscles. And I had a different neurosurgeon at OHSU, which is like the top, it's a teaching hospital. It's like one of the big hospitals in Oregon. And I don't remember his name, Dr. Chang or whatever, but he did my cervical fusion. He operated up to C2. I think C1 is like the base of your skull up at the top or something. He fused my cervical spine, but it was kind of a tricky surgery. He said that he had to connect screws that he was putting into the rest of my hardware or something, and he wasn't sure if it was going to work or be successful. Um, but I had that surgery done, and that was really like a rough recovery as well. I transferred to inpatient rehab, and I did well. Like I feel like I was healing okay. But they tell you like after surgery to take things slow and like to not overdo things. And like I'm like an active person. Like I can't just lay around. I like to to move and stuff. But somehow like at one of the follow-up appointment, I don't know. I remember this was a while back. I used to walk with my walker early in the morning. I used to go out, and I remember at one point like I felt some kind of like a pop or something. I got like shooting pain down my arm, and this was not very long after that fusion. And I don't know if I took things too rough after the surgery. I don't know who's at fault. Like I don't know. I can't blame him exactly either. But somehow one of the rods got a fracture in it, and I thought that I at the follow up appointment I thought I was going to be done with the neck brace and that everything was good, but that X ray revealed that I had a fracture, and then there were some loose screws or something in my neck. So I was back wearing the neck brace, and he told me that he would not redo that fusion because of my difficulty healing and my nutrition as well. So then I transferred to a different neurosurgeon, the one that I have now, and he was going to redo that that fusion in 2016. I actually had surgery scheduled, and he was going to operate to up to C1, the base I think of your skull, and I was going to be in this halo brace or something that's like pins in your head. It's like this big device like around your head. It's not like a normal neck brace. I don't know how people sleep in it or get dressed wearing it, but it's supposed to, I guess, keep everything better in alignment. I've always been in just like a regular neck brace, not. I've never had one of those before, but it was
Yeah.
scheduled and I had transportation ready to go. I was going to check in the day before the surgery just so I was ready and everything. And then they called from the surgeon's office and said that they're canceling the surgery because a dietitian that I had met with told them that I was eating only like 400 calories a day or something, and that they weren't going to do the surgery. And ever since that, ever since then, I've been in a neck brace, not when ever since, not laying down. I don't have to wear it, but sitting up or standing up, I can't hold my head up without a neck brace on. And so then I met this surgeon back when my back infection, like I hadn't seen him, like he canceled the surgery and I didn't have any appointments. I just continued on wearing my neck brace. And then when my back infection began, I met back up with him at the hospital. He's the neurosurgeon surgery group that came in. There's not very many, I think, neurosurgery teams that do like complex spinal uh, care or something. The I did get a second opinion from another a neurosurgeon who did drain one of my abscesses at OHSU, which is like the big hospital here. A couple of years ago, he drained one, and I had an ENT surgeon. She moved to California, but before she moved, she did two surgeries to drain an abscess from the front of my neck. She had to go in. It was by my aorta or something. It was she had to go through the front of my neck to drain that, and it came back a second time. I don't know how, that wasn't discovered like my spine abscesses that develop begin as like a lump, like you can feel it like on your back.
Noticeable.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
noticeable, but the one in my neck, I I don't know how that sunglass thing. um, somebody, yeah. So it was. I think it was noticed on a scan or something like that. But then that surgeon moved. I wouldn't know if it ever would come back again or not because nobody's doing any kind of like follow up scans to check in on anything. I've basically like been thrown to the curb by my surgeon. He won't. When I did develop another abscess in my upper back area, the wound clinic, I check into the wound clinic every 3 or 4 weeks, and they basically do what home health does, but they just check in on everything. They change the dressing, they measure the wounds, um, and they were concerned, and so they had, because I had this abscess that it gets more and more swollen, like to be like golf ball size on my back, and it's like I'm laying on like a ball because it's right along my incision down my back. When they develop, it's usually either right on the incision or it's like right next to the incision. And so they sent me to well, first they called the surgeon's office, and he wouldn't make an appointment to see me. He said he doesn't plan on doing any surgical intervention. And so then she sent me to the ER, and I went to the ER, and I didn't go to the ER that he works out of the hospital because I thought maybe the neurosurgeon at the other hospital would do something about it. So I went to that ER, and I spent like 9 hours in the ER for them to do. I got pain medicine. They did a CAT scan, which showed a new abscess. Then the neurosurgery team came to see me, and they said that they didn't think it was urgent enough, like an emergency enough, to take me to the operating room to drain it. They didn't want to reopen. I think they think that they've gone in and out so many times that it's risky, and that these abscesses just keep coming back again, no matter if they, when they drain it, there's a short period of time where, until I get a new one. So they just sent me home. They wouldn't help me, and I had to hope that these abscesses would open up on their own. And I never thought that they can open up on their own, but apparently, because I would never have one before that would open up on its own. They had to do an IND, which is an incision and drainage. Um, but it did eventually open up on its own and drain. But it's a long, like, I don't think it's good to not do anything about it either, because they basically told me to come back if it was like an emergency, like if I had high fever, if, or I don't know like what they meant by that, like if it was too late, like I don't know, but it didn't make, it really didn't make any sense, and it upset the home health people because they can't drain abscesses, and the wound clinic, they're not able to drain abscesses either, and an ER doctor won't drain it because it's complex. It's like it's like in the spine, like down to the. They don't feel comfortable draining them. So I don't know.
So let me
I can go like 3 months without getting a new abscess, and then all of a sudden a new one will show up again.
let me
So,
ask you this.
uh,
It's all about risk management from their
I know. Yeah.
interests. So that we're clear on. Um, is it true to say that if you were to be able to get your nutrition up and get at a healthier weight in their mind or whatever, that that would change the dynamic enough for them to feel like that risk? I mean, there's something to be said about coping, and when we can't
mm-hmm.
solve things, and talk about all these different methods. But if there are things that we don't have to cope with, and they're saying X, Y, and Z needs to happen, and as long as that happen, you're back with us and we'll take care of you. Is that their position at least? That's the first part of the question. And the second part, does that mean that the reason why that you're struggling with not going down that road is just because of the whole other dynamic of the eating disorder, in that it's not just like a, oh, okay, let me discipline myself and be a good girl and eat my veggies and things. So is there, am I on the right track in that that's kind of complicates matters further, and that there's a genuine eating disorder that's kind of in the way to go down that path?
Yeah, I would say that's a big part of it. He wouldn't ever give like any specifics like on what he wants. He he wants weight gain. I know that, but I think also they look at your labs, like your prealbumin, which shows like your nutritional numbers or whatever. And there was one point where it was trending in the right direction. I don't know. I don't remember what normal is, but I think it was like 17 to 40 something. I don't. He never said what he wanted it to be at, but I'm guessing he would want it in the normal range or high. I don't know. But he would never. He told me that my situation now is as good as things are going to get, unless he hears from a dietitian otherwise, that I am making a lot of progress, I guess. I don't know. I've tried to get more specific answers, but he really wouldn't give me anything. He just said that we'll talk if things change, if a dietitian tells him that I'm doing what I'm supposed to, that I'm getting enough nutrition. I did speak with a dietitian a while back, but it was not in person. It was, and not even like video chat. It was like once a month on the phone. And I think I do better like in person, like seeing them and like talking to, I don't know. She would check in with me. She can tell me like a dietitian can tell you like all the things like that they want you to eat and how much, and but it's not, you have to have the therapy part with that, or it's not gonna
Okay,
like
so
work on its own.
there's the option to pursue it. The professionals who could do a good job are open to it, but they've made it clear that here's the conditions. You're now left with not being able to have more than what they've done, and you've got this coping dynamic that you're going through, and then you know that the nutrition topic is what needs to change. Why are you why do you not have something in place where you're getting the appropriate therapy for your eating disorder and being able to get the resources to now focus on these things that you are not equipped with? Because that's where my dad want to solve things comes in, is somebody should be advocating for you to say, look, there's a path that you can go down. It could be life changing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
And what do we need to do to get to some of the root pain that is in a different area associated with eating disorders and things like that, so that you're able to feel like that you have a support system and that you can give them what they're asking for?
So that you have hope.
Because it sounds to me like you're like, okay, well, somebody's just put a carrot in front of me, but don't you guys understand that I'm not making this up and I'm not trying to be difficult, but I don't have all the tools to go down that path and I need help.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think you have an ounce of energy.
Yeah.
I yeah. You quite honestly, your body's in a condition to where you need a small army that is focused on you, a
Yeah.
team that is focused on you. And I know that there's a lot of answers just watching a lot of other people with different conditions, and I don't understand why that's not being so freely offered.
Yeah. You
Um,
should be flooded. I mean, listen, I'll even go out there to say it, and we all get that there's no way I can like put out there any kind of expectation, and I certainly would never ever want to even have a shred of false hope. But if I had something to say about it,
sure,
this would
yeah,
be something that would be shared, whether on YouTube or other people. We're gonna have a link to the interview. We can have the people that you have visibility share it all over the hell world. And I would love to have like a dream team nutritional, come and swarm you and say, look, we are going to figure out what we're going to do to meet these requirements that these other experts are waiting on, so that we can take care of you, because this is not right. This is not okay. I am not
no,
okay with this. And it's at risk. It's at risk. I'll even say this. It's at risk for people that can help to not. It's at risk for them to there's no way around it, in that people are failing you.
yeah,
There there are people, and that doesn't mean that just the high profiled and people get the best care, right? I mean, that's the whole other thing to unpack. But goodness, could it not be a start, right? I mean, if we could help influence or bring awareness, and that allowed for people to reach out
thank
to
you
you.
guys.
What
So
do you
much as this, so much of this is basic to me.
Yeah.
And this is part of our fight. I think alongside with American Chronic Pain Association and other associations and other nonprofits, and we are failing each other as human beings at the most basic levels.
Basic levels.
You're looking at someone that needs decency, that needs love, that needs basic care, that needs basic nutrition. It's no skin off your back. You cannot tell me, I don't care what nurse, what doctor, what. I get that it's hard jobs. I get that your jobs are hard, but you there's no excuse.
There isn't. There is
This
no
this
excuse.
situation is it's extremely hard for me to hear about what Andie has walked through, um, both in professional settings and personal settings, and to see the very raw pictures or videos of her extreme pain, discomfort. Her body is screaming as loud as it can.
You're calling
and
out for
you're
help.
being failed.
You're calling out for help. How many people call out for help that are over 50%? Over 50% of the suicides in this nation are related to chronic pain. And you want to know why some people don't want to talk about this? Because it reveals that there are some major failings of the system. Yeah.
Because the finger might turn around and be pointed at them.
You know,
That's
decades ago, I understand. I get that people, under circumstances like this, or even my wife, you'd be put away, you're locked up, and boy, it is a secret, right? You're out of sight, out of mind. We've come far. I get it. But not far enough. This is basic. You have people that can spend so much effort in investing in resources and time. If there is low risk, if it's going to be helping me make financial, things like this. And I am sorry. I know that we're limited, and if I could have the finances to put a team together, you'd have it tomorrow. I would call.
Rex and I well, we're gonna go down this road real quick because, all of you trigger this fire in us, but especially tonight.
Sorry, yeah,
especially tonight.
My fighter.
We're gonna, and I'll lose my train of thought often, so forgive me. We talk about how much money we see going to different people on TikTok, YouTube, people that are even the cause of some lives being destroyed, of lives being ended, because they're people like to watch drama, right? And they get caught up in that, and we feed upon that, and these people are just getting thousands a month. And Rex and I are so entirely baffled. We're just finalizing Spoonful of Sugar as a nonprofit. We had to become the business first, and
we are a nonprofit.
We are a nonprofit.
We are working on the tax exempt status right now. If anybody wanted to donate to what we're doing, because we're financing it ourselves until we get donations, best we have. I was talking to someone at a bank that we're going to be getting set up with. The best that we have right now is that if you go to our link tree at the bottom of the link, personal donations, it goes to our Venmo. Has nothing to do with tax exempt and everything.
It's not an easy process to become.
But we have to get donations. Hold on, let me just finish that thought. We have to get the tax exempt status set up in order to have it really be the 501(c) where people can get right off whatever. And we're making progress with that. And then of course we'll have the link tree. In fact, I'm gonna fight for TikTok. You know how you can go and do an American Heart Association and all these other things? Nothing represents chronic pain, TikTok. And we want to be the first, because I'll tell you, let me just say this. Let me say, we have been in contact with the founder of a 40-plus year veteran, Penny Cohen, with the American Chronic Pain Association. She doesn't have a presence in TikTok.
Well, but they hadn't heard of TikTok.
And she's still, even though she's retired and her leadership team is changing, we eventually in 2022 want to do a fundraiser collaboration with her. But the point is that they're not going to be in TikTok and have to be the one that does it. So that's one of our goals. But anyway, I'm going off in that people want to put $5 into this. They want to get the word out. They want to do anything that they can because they love you and they know that you need help. And I can't promise anything, but boy, we're trying, Oh.
There's millions of sufferers around the world.
Sorry.
In this whatever train of thought I had is probably gone.
I'm so sorry.
Rex and I have to continue to be very faithful and prayerful, and honestly, I don't sense. I wear this on my finger. This is I've worn this for months before we started this, and it says spoonful of sugar, and that was just me hanging on to the belief that I had worth still, and that I was able to serve. Um, in whatever capacity I was in, whether I was in 10, my level of pain was 10, and I was needing to breathe through every word I was typing to someone. I found a way to serve. And spoonful of sugar, we are not, I have so much faith in it. I know that it's what our Heavenly Father wants. I know that it's years beyond what he would have had he been in control, and people listened, and we extended our hands in the way that Christ wanted us to. If we were extension of his hands, this would have happened years ago. We would have been able to save a lot of lives. We would have been able to help people with a lot of pain. We, as we start out, our goal is to just love on you guys. Whether it's just to give you a chance to be heard, to let you know that you are loved, that you are not alone. The more people that we get in here, the bigger our family is in here, the better we do and the faster we move. The other part of that is working with companies, which we've got the go ahead from. We have a legal team so that whatever we do, we are doing it correctly, because we can't afford to do anything. Well, I just won't have it. We will not have any mistakes. Spoonful of sugar is way too important. So the other part of it is there's no way that we're going to be able to interview. If we did it 7 days a week, 10 people a day, there's no way to get to all of you. But what we can do is we can create an army, and we can have businesses that come together and professionals that come together, and we can get something out to you that says you matter. We know you're isolated, and I'm talking to whoever's listening. We know you're isolated. We know that you are maybe even under your breath sending out your SOS to God, to the universe, to whoever will listen. And I know that a lot of you have lost faith in humanity. I know a lot of you have even lost faith in a being that doesn't, you feel maybe even is cruel. We've all, I think, gone there. We've all had questions and confusion and days of pain to where we just don't understand. Rex and I have gladly given of our time and our finances, and it's difficult because we would rush it, right? This would have been done months ago if it wasn't for, we have to wait for other human beings to say that you're okay, you're good. That's difficult when you know that every damn day matters, and we're going to lose someone else. And Andie, I told you there's going to be a part of this. I wanted to talk to you, because I know that you have days, and we're not talking. She talked a lot about what she goes through physically, but she has complexities like so many of you coming at her from all different directions, mentally, physically, emotionally, people failing her, people abusing her, people. So as I prayed about you today, and I was reading, I just want to read something to you. And quite honestly, if this applies to any of you, that if this touches your heart, just hang on to it, okay? And know as I say this, that in no way am I saying you don't deserve hard days. You don't deserve days where you just need a break. And whatever, I just don't want anything to be taken wrong. I've absolutely had those days, and quite honestly, sometimes the whole thing with Spoonful of Sugar is about service, right? We may have one spoon left, we may be negative of spoons, but I want you guys to, just because I believe in it so much, when you serve like Andie does so well, it's not ever going to change what is broken with your body, but your spirit your spirit can grow without limit, and that alone can carry you. And create miracles within you that we, quite honestly, I don't have words for. Knowing all of you, meeting you, the ones that we get to meet soon, Andie here today, if I didn't know there was a God before, I would have this year because of you guys. But I asked him, when I said, I want to go forward, he told me very gently, then get out of my way and walk with me. Do not get in my way. And ever since then, I've stuck to that. And the dreams I have are limitless, and it's because these are not mine, these are his. And the only thing that limits Spoonful of Sugar is human beings. And it's tough to watch people that are even a part of the problem in this world making so much money. And we want to be able to get just the smallest amount of funds to get going, to get on flights, to get to you, to get, if we can't personally get to you, to get something to you to say, we see you, you matter. Please, please, I'm begging you, if you know someone, if you have a family member, a friend, or just an acquaintance, give them our information so that they know they're exactly who we're looking for. So I'm going to read this. I praise you for your past faithfulness. It is a light by which I learn to trust your providence and kindness today. I praise you that through this road, though this road is trying, and I am wearied, yet here I am, still present in this place and time, alive to live this day, that is today, still moved by beauty, stirring by song, Andie, and story, yet comforted by the good company of friends, still capable of rich conversation and laughter and moments of joy and the right sorrow, still able to practice a prayerful, expectant silence that tutors my soul to seek its rest in you, still drawing breath in this day, which, though it has its hardships, remains a day in which my heart might be further shaped by your spirit and your shepherding. For all these blessings, I give you praise, knowing that today, this day, is a day you have decreed I should live. And so I can trust it is also a day in which you will supply every grace that is necessary for my soul to flourish, though my body weakens. We know in this community that our bodies are fighting, and our bodies are tired, and that we don't have enough. There is a severe shortage in proper care. But you never have to feel alone. And the best advice I could give when you're feeling just really beat up on, which, let me just say first, I am so sorry for those moments.
Yeah.
When life just seems, when your next breath seems too overwhelming. The best advice I can give you all is love on each other. And that's what's going to keep you going. And that's all he wants. And we're failing each other so drastically. When I hear people abusing any of you, Rex knows, and I think some of you know, I've been pretty fierce. If you're someone that thinks you're going to do that here, you better move on.
No.
Because I've always been, since I was little, I've not tolerated watching bullying.
No.
Gave a boy a bloody nose when I was in elementary school. There's something about watching people get beat up on, especially when they suffer so much. You have no idea. You have no idea what these angels on earth go through. And if you do have an idea, then let anger go. And turn it into love. Love yourself first. Allow yourself grace first. And then you can really love on each other.
Yeah.
You've all, honestly, in so many ways, saved my life. Certainly enriched it. And I don't know what the number of days are that I have left, or that Andie has left, or that any of you do. Yeah. But what I do know is I am such a blessed woman. And the best thing that has happened to me in my life, besides my husband, kids, and grandbaby, is that God tethered me to my pain. Because that taught me to be less selfish. It refined me in ways that I couldn't have ever dreamt of. And it led me to you. And so, with that thought, and with that knowledge of those facts, pain has been my greatest blessing. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be here looking at such a goddess right now. And hearing just a portion of what you've gone through, Andie.
And we feel I don't understand it, but I feel, not just through the comments and the numbers, there's so much beyond the comments and the numbers in terms of just the words. We get that there are souls, there's emotion, there's so much that is there, and you can feel that energy, even if it's around the world. It's just a miraculous thing, and God helps with that. And we feel of the people coming together, and we see you in ways that our eyes can't.
I'm so grateful.
With Andie. Andie's right with us when we say to any of you that haven't been seen yet, haven't been heard, we're asking you to hang on. We're asking you to continue to have faith and continue to have hope. And in moments where you've reached complete desperation and you've reached complete despair, and reach out. Do not ever carry that alone. That is where final mistakes happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know that none of you really would do something to hurt yourself if you were not in such an extreme situation, which puts your
Desperate.
mind,
Yeah, you're not in
yes,
your right
you're
place.
absolutely desperate.
You're just like, this world has failed me, and I don't know. I can't do this
And
on
I'm
my own.
and I'm
Whatever.
gonna say something really, really, it's a strong statement, but I'm quite honestly tired. Um, there is such a small amount, and I mean teeny, of true chronic pain sufferers or chronic condition sufferers that abuse or overdose. It is such a small percentage.
A fact.
And it is a fact. And there is such a beautiful girl on TikTok. I apologize right now that I don't remember your name. But she said proper use is not abuse. And most of us are under medicated. Most of us are undertreated. Andie is a prime example, and it's not okay. And Rex and I will not stop fighting. I won't stop fighting until my last breath.
Until the day I die.
Yeah.
I was telling Nell, until
Some
the
of you
day
are
I
there.
die.
I'm so sorry you guys are suffering.
Yeah. I, I, I know that there are people, like I said, continue reaching out to each other.
Yeah.
If you want to be interviewed, whatever it is, let's continue to feel when we wake up every day that even though there's failings all around us and there's those things that we feel like we have to cope with, get up and do a dance to the D'Amelios for crying out like right? I
Yeah.
mean, hell, what an inspiration.
Sing along with Andie.
You said that you love song and dance, and
Yeah.
boy, did you
Yep.
did you think that would have happened, my friend? She got a duet from Charlie D'Amelio, and the whole
Yep.
world knows Andie now. And so
I'm so sorry you guys are. You know, remember what was just said. I cannot put it into better words than this very inspired person did. You're alive today because he needed you to be.
yeah,
He needs you here. Without you guys, this world would be so much darker. You show people what strength is, what grace is, what beauty is, what fight is, what warrior is. I could go on for an entire day. And he needs you desperately. He has put you through fire that is unimaginable. He's asked you to climb mountains that are unclimbable. But somehow you all are doing it. Somehow you're doing it. So if he has saw fit that you're living another day, remember what a miracle you are.
yeah. We can't take credit for it. None of us are saying, "Look at me, I'm so strong, I'm so virtuous."
No, this community is one of the most beautiful communities. I think other than little children, this community, I'm not joking when I say pain is my biggest gift because it brought me to all of you.
Yeah.
You guys know what love is and you know what fighting is, and
it's helped build my faith, for crying out loud, because I honestly don't know what's next, what's going to happen, but I have to keep getting reminded by Heavenly Father, quite frankly, of almost like it's none of your business. It's kind of like, is that your role to have it all figured out?
yeah, that's what he
I
tells
just
me
need
a
a
lot.
willing heart. I just need a willing mind and a willing heart and someone that can do next steps. Can you do that? Yes or no?
You always have to find something that keeps you going. And I'm grateful for both of you and every one of my family. I consider TikTok and this community family to me. Even my blood doesn't have to be family. I don't know what I would do
No.
without all of you and your support
Oh,
and love,
100%.
and that's what keeps me going through everything. I have my ups and downs, but I tried I tried to remember that I still have purpose, and that the kids who I do my smile boxes for and my sock drive, and that's they want me, they need me to keep going and to keep fighting, and that my journey is not over, even when some days it
No.
just feels like I just want to
Yeah.
give up and that I don't have
Yeah.
And honey,
purpose.
you don't have just purpose. You're a leader.
Leader, major.
You
You underestimate yourself. That
like a lot.
and that's not underestimating or any less to everybody else.
No.
But the fact of
No.
the fact of the
I
matter is that there are leaders here still in their bodies because God needs them there. And if you don't
Yeah.
believe that
yeah,
that's a fact,
all
that
of
let
yours.
that pierce you to the center.
Yeah.
That is the truth. There's no other explanation. They are still alive. They should be dead, and they are here, and they are here for you.
Yeah. I
Period.
can't even imagine how many miracles he has shown in all of your lives that you get to see in the next life, because you didn't know maybe how many times he saved your life because he needed you here.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't know how many times or how many people that you have touched, but you don't know of because they might not be somebody that posts. They watch silently. You have no
Yeah,
idea
yeah,
what he's doing and
yeah,
working within
exactly.
all of you. Um,
They don't. Maybe they're scared. There's a lot of people that are
exactly.
shy. People that don't want to be in front of the
There's
camera or
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
There's thousands and thousands of people that are watching from a distance that you will never know or
You'll know
see.
someday.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep,
uh,
24,000 people are watching on my
What's
side.
that?
24,000 people are watching,
oh,
it says.
Are
Andy.
you kidding me?
Oh my gosh,
Holy shit!
Andy, it is no less
What?
than you deserve.
Are you
And
kidding
what you
me?
deserve is dang near at least half of that 2 million watching you.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
this girl needs love and help, and she needs a change
Yeah.
of care if that's necessary. And we need things to happen quicker. And so all the prayers we will all take, right? Because it's to benefit all of us, and we're all in this together. And um, Andie, I know your poor body is suffering. So what you gave to all of us tonight is so invaluable. And what an honor it's going to be for Heavenly Father for to bless you for what you've done
Yeah.
tonight.
You will be blessed.
We know it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Um, and so many of you, it's not easy to be on here for as long as you are, but you do it. And you do it to say, hey, this is me, and this is me trying to be brave and to help others. And
I'm like
we
Andie.
we are going to be seen. We
Yeah.
It's time that this community gets seen. And I understand that we're complicated, and I understand that we have so many conditions and so many, you
Well, it's
know.
just like I just kind of vision this big room and so many people are raising their hand and you know what they're saying? It's not that they're trying to get attention.
No.
They're saying I'm like Andie.
Yeah.
Can I be
Yeah.
important?
Yeah.
Can I be special?
Especially
Can
after
I be
people have
listened
walked
to?
away from you.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
after people have maybe abused you at some point.
Yeah.
Especially after people have made you feel like there's no value in you
Mm-hmm.
anymore. You absolutely raise your hand. Any one of you, scream it out. Let us know that you want to be seen. And let me remind you,
Yeah.
once we get our web page up, you don't have to be you can be on camera, but with a dark screen. You can just have your voice heard, or you can choose to write your story, and we
Read it. Yeah.
once we have
Yeah.
our page up, we will put your story on there in
Well,
black and
well,
white.
even if I'm on
Doesn't
camera, and
matter.
even if somebody wants to do a message and they don't want to have a
Exactly.
live, then on one of our lives, I can sit there
Yeah.
and read a 5 page or more document if they want me to share that.
And
You
you
know, I
don't
mean,
need to be sitting
however you're
up.
Yep.
comfortable with,
Yeah.
we welcome you in however you want to show up. You all are equally important. And if
Yep.
you can't go away from a live like this and know that that's the truth among all the lies in this world, then check yourself. Because
Yeah, very
because
kindly.
the
Yep.
truth
Yeah.
is that you are not alone. You do matter. You are just as
And
important.
that you are not difficult.
And you know what, guys? I got another shirt. I don't have it on today here. I'm doing the Kindred Spirits, but we are stronger together, and far too long we have not known or had a place to come together.
And there are places we just
Or at least, yeah,
we
yeah. We're just
absolutely, there's
one. No,
so
I'm not
many
saying, yeah,
pioneers.
I'm just saying that they're
There's so many pioneers.
pioneers. Yeah,
And we give absolute credit. And like I was saying to Andy,
yeah,
if it wasn't
absolutely.
for people like you, um, I might not have been pushed the way I needed to be.
There you go. Yeah,
And
Thank you.
so we are doing this all together. And
yeah, that's what I mean.
and
So,
I personally, this is 100% driven by my Heavenly Father. It's even a part of our mission statement. That's one thing I promised him, is that I would not um, stop letting the world know what my beliefs are, because I truly believe that so many of us need to be reminded that you are loved and watched over, and that you are the elite, and that you are the most precious, and that um, you are who he entrusted with so much. And every breath that you take, and every moment of pain, and nothing is in vain. He's using you.
yeah,
He's using you for so much. Um, just and for the days, Andy, and I'll say this to you because I know there's hard days. It's you're doing just some days are just going to be that way, and that doesn't mean you're serving any less, because you
Mhm.
chose to continue to live and fight.
yeah.
And so those days, Andy, you're going to give yourself grace,
Mm.
and you're going to remind yourself of the goddess you are, because when you give yourself grace and rest, and maybe not even rest, maybe that's too hopeful of a word on some days, but that'll allow you to get up and do such a beautiful little TikTok another day. So,
Yeah.
and we need you. We need all of
Thank
you.
you.
Um, Andy, I love you with,
I love
like,
you guys
my
too.
spirit is completely connected to you. Um,
Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
just so special. Thank you so much for like hanging on for as long as you did. I'm so impressed. I'm
Yeah,
so
Thank you. I
stinking
love you.
impressed. And she's on her back, which
yeah,
blows my mind. And it's time you
yeah,
get a bed that does all the
Yeah, I
things you
know.
need, because
yeah,
it's just pastime,
yeah.
quite
The chair, the
honestly.
chair. I mean,
My bed moves and massages, and I don't know what I'd do without it. And I don't have, I do not have the, when I see just pictures, I
Yeah.
just cringe, and I know pain, and I cringe.
yeah,
So it's just, I don't know how yet. Um, for you, Andy, and for any of you, I don't know how, but I pray hard. And specifically, when it's your turn, I pray about you specifically, you guys. And for Andie, for you today, we need miracles for you to get the care that you need, the equipment that you need, the nutrition you need, because we kind of need you around for a
Yeah,
while.
and we
So
know that it can happen because shout out to the people that there's so many people around the world, and the people that were involved in getting your chair. We know that
Yep.
there are people. We don't want to send the message that everyone's just
oh
failing.
no, goodness.
And so we're grateful for those, and you guys are all part of pushing this and carrying this out globally. Last Saturday was our first interview in Ireland, and we're now going to be in Australia and Norway and the UK.
And Wells eventually,
So
yeah.
so it's exciting that we're talking to people, you guys, that are international, and so you guys
Yep.
just are a big part of that because they feel of all of your love when we talk with them. So
We love you, girl. You hang in there. You
I
hang
love you
on.
guys too.
And when it's hard days, look, me, Rex, and I personally invite you to reach out anytime.
yeah, you have my cell. So I mean
yeah.
that. I mean, I'm literally like, if you want to just call and say, "Hey, stop working, let's chat." I'm I'm I I'm telling you, just give me a call. So
Thank
anything
you.
you need, just text me or call me. I mean, I know we've been on, Instagram and all that,
Yep.
um, but we're here for you.
Thank you.
So
That
Oh,
means a
Laura
lot to me.
Roberts, thank you. You guys,
yeah,
you're just
Liverpool.
beautiful
Laura, send me a
human
message. Let's
beings.
get you booked, my
We
friend.
are so. Uh, I say it every time. We lay down with a huge smile. I don't care what pain I'm going through. You guys put me. My spirit is just flying,
Uplifted,
flying.
uplifted.
Oh, it's so good to see you from Australia.
Australia.
Welcome
Oh,
to.
Allie.
Oh,
Oh,
we've. Yep.
she's the one that we got a
Yep.
gift.
Yeah.
She
We
she
have
was
a
the one
gift
that
coming
we
to you.
we got a package out in the hallway, my friend. That's coming your way.
Well, and all of you, Andie, obviously you included, all of you that we have interviewed so far, um,
Hey,
have
Tracy.
a fun special gift coming before Christmas.
Aw.
So um,
Yep. I'll have to get
we
your
hope that it puts a
address.
small smile on your face, and it's the first really kind of wave of what we are trying to do to get to you and just put a smile on your face. There's enough
Yep.
mail that we don't need. Let's get you something in the mail that makes a
And it
difference.
doesn't end here. You get interviewed.
Yep.
You'll get a Zoom information later. At least
Oh,
once a year, we're
exactly.
doing
Yep.
Zoom calls, guys. Turn
I'll be
TikTok purple. I
joining
want to
it.
see 100 people
I
plus in
won't
those
miss
Zoom
the
calls.
next
We
one.
were able we weren't able to get you last time, but we'll get you.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I missed the last one. I was
yeah,
in the ER, I
It's
think.
okay.
That's what
yeah,
it was. Yeah.
It was you had a day.
yeah.
Yep.
Let's
That'll be
I'm
something
so
to look
grateful.
forward to when you are able to join
yeah.
that Zoom call, and all
Yep.
the people that we've interviewed, for those that are able to hop on with us, and you're able to just really have that experience, and so that's another thing that we love, that we have kind of started, that we'll do at least maybe once or twice a year. So
Yeah. Go back and watch it. If nothing else, towards the end, and you'll laugh your guts out. It was so.
oh, you're talking about
yeah. It was.
Ashley.
Yeah. And
Oh, I think I did see that.
anyway,
I
it
think I
got
did see
so
it.
funny, and we have a lot of ideas, you guys, as well, like movie nights, craft nights, where we maybe send you the crafts before we do a craft night, but we're all together. Um, so there's so
Yeah,
much that we can do now that technology has come this
that's
far.
true.
There's no reason for us not to be together as a family doing different things. And
Yeah, what a
uh,
testament that God, you want to know another fallacy, and I'm not going to unpack that
really
topic,
quick,
but
is it Jure? She was saying thank you for putting a
oh,
smile on her.
oh,
She must be
friend
one of your
Andy's
followers.
face.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Oh,
welcome, my friend. Follow us. Follow me.
She's put more of the smile. We're the blessed ones.
But God
Thank you
uses
for coming over.
God uses technology, you guys. So many people
yep.
believe technology is just bad and they'll get off social media. This is proof that it can be the opposite of that.
Right.
Andie is proof. So many other people
Yep.
are
Yeah,
proof
all of
that
you
you
are.
can use technology for good. So don't shut it down. Find the ways to use that to help
Oh,
Give the
Laura's
spoonfuls
saying
of sugar.
she's new, and
For
can
sure.
we explain what we do? So we're a business now, Spoonful of Sugar, who interviews, I would say mostly people that have chronic conditions and chronic pain, but we also added suffering to that so that it's a very human thing. So
Yeah.
anyone, whether it's
Yep.
mentally or situationally, can come on, and we just want to give a platform for human beings to say, hey, I hurt,
Yeah.
and this is what I'm going through, and just because we just don't listen to each other enough. And besides that, our ultimate goal is to work with companies and work with donations, um,
Oh,
with thank you
thank
so
you.
much,
That
with
was so kind of you.
sending gifts out, whether it's flowers or a meal service for a week, or just something more personalized because we get to know your personalities. Um, it's just a very small way for us to say, hang in there, we love you, you're not forgotten, you're part of our family.
Yeah.
And we hope to get a lot of businesses on board, and a lot of people that have a little bit more influence
Yeah,
and
if you
power. And
if what you've liked, if what you've seen rings true to you tonight, everybody, and you want to help and be part of it, there's three simple things that you can take away from. And remember these things. Number one, follow us. Click on our
Yep.
link tree and subscribe to our YouTube, and you will see a ton of videos of what we've been up to. Number two, watch the pinned
including
posts.
Andie's by tomorrow, the
Yeah,
latest.
yeah. Watch, if all you watched was three of our posts, watch the pinned posts. It talks about Good Things Utah and what Nell's vision is with the business. It talks
Yep.
about some statistics that are pretty sobering, and it talks about Nell's story and gives some highlights of what has been led to that. You spend 5 minutes and a couple of clicks, and you guys can help
Well, my
in a
thing,
major way.
those are all great. Mine is go find who's suffering,
Like,
and bring them here.
Yep.
Um, you know, take care of each other. And if someone's hurting and isolated, and even if they have a great support system,
yeah,
they still are going to be isolated because no one
Yep.
knows what they're going through. I have obviously an amazing support system, and I experience isolation simply because there's no way for any other human being to understand the level of pain and suffering that many of us go through. So it doesn't matter. Don't forget that person just because they have a family and they have friends, or like Andie, she's got followers. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
She has days of isolation. She has days of loneliness. She has days of despair. And we need each other because that understanding, and that being able to say, I don't understand completely, but I do know isolation and loneliness and despair and suffering. I know what that is.
yeah,
And and I'm here to listen to you. Those are massive, massive things. We want to make it a lot, we want to go into even the more fun side of things. I think it's healthy to laugh. Um,
Yep.
giveaways. We just barely. Yeah,
yeah, we love giveaways, but Andie, those of you who we've interviewed, once you get your packages, you'll understand what I mean by I
oh
love
yeah.
I love to laugh about some of our situations, and so I don't want to give it away, but
Yeah,
anyway, and don't think because we might be out so far in interviews that we're not interested in you. 100% we are.
yeah, yeah.
Rex will
Yep.
type in. I'll let Rex type in our email really quick.
That's on that side. So let me do this.
Oh, okay. He'll do the email really quick. Reach out. Let us know what you've got and how you would like to share. If you'd like to be on, just like
When you
Andie
guys
is right
post
now
the
with video.
When you guys post the email, will the people on my side see it or no? When you
You know what? I'm not. I'm just gonna say it. So
oh,
let
okay.
me just.
Oh, that
It's
would be that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
better.
that'll be
so
good.
our email is spoonful of sugar rexnell at gmail.com. So I'm going to spell that out and you guys make a note of it or someone put that in the comments in both places, okay? So it's SPOONFULL.
Because that is a separate word. We don't want to be in what is it?
But the email is just all together.
I know, but I
so
know what I'm saying. The reason it's not FUL, it's FULL because we don't want to be in competition with what's the movie?
Yeah, Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. If you were to type in spoonful of sugar, that's what you'll get. So
yeah.
this is why.
Yeah, it's not spoon. Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as the email, okay, so let me start again. SPOONFULLOFN is in Nancy, ELLE at gmail.com. So one more time, flood it in the comments so people get it right. We get emails. That stays in the inbox if you want to be interviewed or just share. So one more time, SPOONFULLOFNELLE at gmail.com. Are you seeing that in the comments? Are people helping us out here?
We'd love to have you, even if you go back and watch the end of this just to get that.
Yeah, make sure you get that. That's the easiest way. Sometimes I'll get messaging when we follow each other. So oftentimes,
oh, thank you.
Most of the interaction actually.
Jesse, thank you.
Okay. A lot of the interaction, especially with the interview organization, you follow each other and then it's the messaging right in TikTok. That's where actually it's really convenient. But and so you could do that still and I'll get it. Okay. But in doubt, if, you know.
And once in a while when I have good days, I like to just check on you and I will send a personal email back. So
yeah, the email is specifically going to be a lot of the focus with her. So anyway, if you want to arrange an interview, the best way to actually do it, even if you are going to send an email, is follow us and send a message in the inbox, and then I'll get that kind of thing.
We're very close to being finished with the nonprofit, and once that's done, we're flying, you guys. We're flying. I don't. Is it Laura? I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm so sorry. Yes, we'll be praying for your son. Her son has had several kidney surgeries and is in a lot of pain. So, absolutely. Take care of yourselves, please, especially during the holidays. I know that can be especially tough time. And if you are truly alone, reach out and let us know. We would do lives with whatever we're doing to make sure you feel like you're a part of a family or an event or just whatever the heck we're doing. We're a crazy family that loves to laugh at each other. That's about what you'll get, but you're very welcome to be a part of it.
And I'm going to just say, especially because I know that a lot of people that follow one know another. You guys all know Tia Stokes. We are interviewing Tia Stokes at our home this Saturday, December 11th.
Oh, Jesse, thank you.
At 4 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It will be live on our TikTok, and it will be recorded and uploaded. I just met her and her husband and her assistant with our JoJo's event here in Utah yesterday. So I've got some great footage.
Exciting.
That was very exciting to meet her. Mm-hmm. But you want to know someone that loves and is just right there with us, and you guys know Tia. So please share that message. Share the post that we have on our wall.
She reminds me of you, Andie, so much.
Because she's joining us, Andie, and all of you and we are honored to have her in her home because she feels the same. She cannot say amen enough. So if you guys want to join that, again, that is December 11th at 4 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 3
I will
o'clock
be there.
p.m. Pacific Time. Join on live on our TikTok at least. I think she's going to be live as well. She's also going to be promoting it this week.
Let me answer some of these questions. Car, yes, we do. Mental illness is very important to us.
Absolutely.
We absolutely interview.
Antonio. Sorry.
Yes.
Antonio Voices has bipolar. Go check out his video. You can watch that on
Absolutely
YouTube. And
do.
Kristen Jensen, who is Miss Utah County and a producer and director, check her tomorrow. That's tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. She has bipolar. She's joining us tomorrow.
Smile Army Warrior, absolutely, you're in our prayers. She says, in horrible pain, and we will need a multi-organ transplant. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to start doing, and we mentioned this before, and Mandy, who we love and who has been interviewed, who's really taught me to not just let that fear go and do it. Is when to stop and pray for you guys, especially when we come on our lives, just with Rex and I to talk to you guys. If you feel like you need a prayer, we'd absolutely be honored to pray with you. Would you mind if I say? If you guys would like, and Andie, especially you, Rex would like to say a prayer tonight.
Would that be okay with you?
Yeah,
especially for you, Andie. I think it sure wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Well, forgive me if it's not perfect, but
yes, you guys, we are. You're not. Oh, hang in there, you guys. You're breaking my heart.
No, we've got people that are just saying, no. Yeah. We know you're hurting. So let me go ahead and say a prayer, and then I want to give after that, Andie. I want to give the opportunity for you to say anything else that you want that maybe you've wanted to share, and then we'll wrap up. We know it's getting late for everybody. Okay, so if we can just have a moment of silence. Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for your plan, for you giving us life, for creating us as eternal spiritual beings that live beyond this mortal existence and body. We're thankful for those that you have brought into our life and for helping us to go through experiences that help us grow, that help us learn and change, and to forgive each other, to understand grace and the grace and love that you have for us. And moments where you miraculously just shut out the noise. We're grateful for your spirit and the peace that you give us and that you've had so abundantly here on an individual and personal level throughout the world. We're grateful for the strength and courage that Andie has to be such an instrument that represents all of us, and that we are all of equal importance and worth. Pray that you will be with us in the days, weeks, years to come, that you will guide our decisions, that you will help us to be kinder to each other, to talk more, to challenge our perceptions, to break down stigmas. to be led to where the open doors are for when solutions are your will, and to be blessed with the ability to gain coping mechanisms for our individual circumstances so that we can have the best quality of life while here. We know that there are those that have passed, whether it's because natural causes, whether it's because they took their life. We know millions have been impacted by the wide scope of pain that we go through here on earth. And we want you to know we recognize all of you in our lives and that you are helping us on the other side and cheering us all on. And that efforts continue outside of lives. When the lights go off and we're laying by ourselves, that you will be there where we all can't go for each other. I pray that everyone on an individual level, in a way that touches their hearts and souls, will find the truth in these things. They'll be better because of it. And that we will all have faith in where things lead. And have a peace that you're behind it, as well as anyone else and all throughout the world where goodness exists. We recognize you're trying to bless everyone, everywhere, always. And we ask that we, as Nell just so eloquently and inspiringly put it, we pray that we'll just get out of the way and let your will be done. We love you. We thank those that have taken the time to join us, and for those that are watching the recording after. And we're grateful for however you decide to be part of this and other efforts in this world to help us be there for each other. We love thee so much. Help us to keep the faith while we're here. And welcome us with open arms when it's our time to come home. And we say this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
I just wanted to say I'm so grateful for you guys, and thank you so much for having me on here, sharing my story. It really means a lot to have all of the love and support. You guys are amazing. You're doing amazing things, and I'm just so grateful to have this community that keeps me going through everything. And I am thankful for everybody who has joined on here and has left amazing comments. I've seen them all, and I love you guys, and I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. I really needed this tonight, and it has helped me so much.
Us too. Us too. You
Thank
just
you.
feel a room, you feel a soul, you just have it, Andie.
You
have it.
If people want to know what the beings are like when they pass, it is you. It's
Thank
just you're
you.
still with us. And that they all know that, Andie. They know that's true.
And when somebody says something off or not right, and I'll say this to all of you, it's usually because they're looking at the very thing that scares them the most. And it doesn't make it right, and we fight against it, and we challenge them to be better and do different. And if not, that's when we remove them. I want you all to know that you're in a very, very safe place. There's zero tolerance
Yeah.
For behavior that is just cruel. But we also want you guys to know that we are a place that, especially with Rex and I, that you don't need to be afraid to ask questions. We understand there's a lot of people that get blocked for asking questions, and we don't agree with that. Um, you're safe. You can talk. You can ask questions. You can say hard
Learn.
things.
Yeah, people want to understand.
As long as there's not cruelty,
yeah.
You're welcome. And we're so excited to see where we go and how many more of you we get to visit with in 2022.
And I can't wait to get my hugs in person. It's gonna happen.
You will.
Yep.
I'll say this: you're in the top 3 of
yes.
Of our goals.
Yeah.
To get out and
that
get
is,
on a plane and fly.
No question. Yeah. Top 3 that we're gonna start visiting. We got to, and no question in 2022. So
absolutely,
we'll coordinate the details and make it happen. But
so we're gonna need to have you hang in there.
I might just have a race with you in that chair.
He would too. He's not joking. The rest of you hang.
We might go shopping. I know you're a shopper.
Aww.
Yep.
You guys are so
we might get some socks. We might
get some socks.
We'll get some Taco Bell. I'll get you. I'll give you a quesadilla.
Do you do races? Because I think I saw something.
Races. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've been pushed in the Portland Marathon. This guy pushed me 26.2 miles. We came in 3 hours and 40 minutes. That was in 2015. He runs like a 5-minute mile. Yeah. It was my first time ever doing a marathon. It was my dream to be pushed in the Portland Marathon.
See, yeah. I'm still learning.
I think I saw that. I think I did see that picture where you did that.
Every time.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah. You might even get me, you know what? You might even get me to do a TikTok dance next to you, even though I will mess it up.
He'll start doing his own thing. I guarantee. He'll start doing a break dance of some sort, but it doesn't matter. You'll both be dancing.
Yeah. So I promise you this, okay? Until the day I die, I will push to make that goal with you a reality. And so, you. God willing, we'll do a TikTok dance, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Oh, so, really quick, Andie, this will make you smile. Smile Army Warrior says, I used to drag race. If that's a true statement, that is pretty.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
We're speaking the language.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
She just might get an invite.
We fly a bunch of people in to see Andie.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to you, girl.
Yeah.
Very soon.
We will. So you keep it up. I wish I could give you all the answers. I wish I had all the resources. I wish I could do more. I hope that this is enough. God's grace can help fill in the blanks, and let's just put that.
We'll get.
Yeah, let's just put that faith and lean into it, and I think some amazing things can happen. He's already proven that. Okay.
Thank you to all of you on Andie's side.
Yes.
Who came in and took the time to hear her and show her love. We can't thank you enough because we just feel better knowing she is lifted by all of you. Thank you.
The army. You guys are the army.
Yeah. I love you, girl.
We love you.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Okay, your family, you're in. Okay?
You're in.
All right.
All of you. We love you all. You're so amazing. Keep it up. Keep the hope. Keep following each other. Go in. It takes a minute to like their posts, watch their whole videos. That's how we support each other here. Other than that, reach out anytime. Yeah. Reach out. Tell us when you're alone. Tell us when you're, if things are iffy mentally, because we all get there.
Well, and be there for each other and have healthy expectations. We are not professionals. We are not experts. Nobody's pretending that I'm just going to buy and make all the insurance claims. I mean, we live in a real world, so there's some limits, right? But there's a ton of stuff that we can do. So work with the good people that are out there, that are professionals. Know when it needs to go to them, but let's fill some voids for sure. There's a ton of things that we can do. So
link in arms with Andie.
All right. Well, we've all been blessed. We've all been blessed, and keep being yourself. I'm going to keep following you. We'll continue to connect.
Oh, of course.
This is not just something that has to be a highlight and then there's just nothing after. So it's just the beginning, and we just love you so much.
That's why I say, you guys, if you want to reach out over email or message us, we try to be as involved as possible, and we've got your back. And you just gotta be brave enough to do that.
Yeah, and we're human too. I have days where I say swear words. Okay, I have days.
I swear like a sailor, but my heart's bigger than.
We fight sometimes, you guys.
Yes, Rex and I are starting.
Okay, we're human.
Segments of where we talk about real issues between relationships and caretakers and even intimacy and how that affects. There's very few places because we just need you guys to know that we're willing to go and have conversations that a lot of people are afraid to have or ashamed to have or scared that they're going to be judged. Mm-hmm. So we'll put ourselves on the chopper block.
Yeah. So just be, have some grace for us, because you might see once in a while I have a bad hair day. Or you might see that
you might see me smack him in the back of the head and be like,
we are human. So don't put us, don't put each other on such a pedestal
give each other grace, especially when someone's not answering. And just know that they're having a hard day. Yeah. And instead of being upset, flip it around and be very loving and reach out to them.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. So whatever you feel that's negative, you do the opposite.
Yeah, go serve
and you'll be blessed beyond.
Yeah, you will.
Andie. Thank you.
Love you.
Until then, I'm hugging you so hard.
If there was ever a big remote through TikTok channels hug, it is right here. I hope you feel it.
We need a big hug emoji.
Thank you so much. Give me a day. I'll put this up on YouTube. You'll have the link. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Share it. and we'll be in touch, okay?
All right. I love you guys.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Love you.
Have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I almost